Chapter 3491. As Luli had expected, the war came to an end after half a year. The 11 forces worked together to wipe out more than a dozen major races and conquered most of the Chaotic Star region. Only the southwest quarter of the region had not been attacked, because there were several dozen large clans there that had joined together to form an alliance. If they wanted to attack, it was not impossible to conquer, but the losses would be very heavy. After conquering so many territories this time, all the clans were very satisfied. The 12 races even gave up a large piece of territory and didn't attack the other races. This was to give some space to the smaller races so that they could take the initiative to fight for the territories. In this way, the smaller races wouldn't make trouble in the territories occupied by the major races. After the armistice, the races began to digest the territories they had conquered. Over half of the Huang race's territory was taken over by the Grim Reaper. In addition to the territory that they occupied nearby, they now had a very large territory. The Grim Reaper also began to transform from a loose alliance to a force. Grim Reaper issued an announcement that those who were willing to be bound by the Grim Reaper could stay. Those who stayed would be given territories, positions, salaries, and resources on a monthly basis. If they didn't want to, they could leave. Grim Reaper used to be an assassin organization. Any warrior with decent abilities could become a Grim Reaper. Usually, the Grim Reaper didn't care about them. They only had to accept missions. Those who accepted missions and completed them would be rewarded. Otherwise, there would be no resources or rewards. Originally, the Grim Reaper didn't have many restrictions on their assassins. Now that they were a force, things were different. If there were no restrictions, then the force wouldn't be cohesive, and it would be hard to manage such a large territory. The Grim Reaper decided to transform as well. They would no longer conduct assassinations in the Chaotic Star region. All their assassin business would be transferred to external forces. In other words, from now on, the assassins of the Grim Reaper would only go to other galaxies. They would no longer accept missions in the Chaotic Star region. This was the agreement between the Grim Reaper and the major forces. From now on, the situation in the Chaotic Star region would be stabilized. Who would the Grim Reaper go after if they accepted more missions? The smaller races didn't have to be assassinated. The biggest ones were the 10 forces. If the Grim Reaper were to mess around, it would be making enemies out of the 10 forces. After the Grim Reaper made the announcement, what surprised Lu Li and the 9 leaders was that most of the Grim Reapers stayed. Only a small portion left, and this small portion even decided to form a new Grim Reaper. Most of the Grim Reapers stayed because the situation in the Chaotic Star region had changed. Where would they go after leaving the Grim Reaper? Apart from joining other forces, they could only find their own places to hide. After so many years, they were used to staying at the Grim Reaper. Another thing was that the Grim Reaper's territory had expanded by several times. The 9 great leaders were prepared to give up more than half of their territories. This way, many powerful Grim Reapers would be able to get a large share of the benefits. Everyone would have food to eat, so why would they leave? The Grim Reapers started to reorganize internally, adding more than 10 halls and a few war zones. This way, there were many more positions, and they could arrange many experts and give them positions and authority. Then, through these experts, he could control the martial artists below him. Layer by layer, the Grim Reaper would be able to use a large number of troops and martial artists to control all the territories. The 10 magnates also started to divide the benefits. The 9 magnates actually had their own groups. Emperor Li and Emperor Qi were on good terms. Emperor Feather and Emperor Yi were on good terms. And Emperor Mo was in an alliance with another magnate. After Lu Li became a powerful figure, it was inevitable that he would have to pick a side. Lu Li didn't want to pick a side, but the Lu family was too weak. If he didn't pick a side, he would be ostracized. Besides, he was on good terms with the Yu family, the Mo family, and the Emperor of Wings. Therefore, it was only natural that Lu Li would pick Emperor Feather and Emperor Yi. He also asked Emperor Mo to join him. Now, there were 5 magnates on Lu Li's side, a force to be reckoned with in the Grim Reaper. Lu Li didn't have a high demand for territories and benefits because the Lu Alliance had too few disciples and their abilities were too weak. The resources given by the Grim Reaper could not be used up anytime soon. Luli didn't want to fight for them, but Emperor Yu and Emperor Imo volunteered to fight for him. Luli didn't mind. He could give as much as he wanted and let Lu Renhuang decide. The Lu alliance was overflowing with wealth. Yin family, Xiang family, Qi family, and Hua family were all happy. More importantly, the disciples of the Lu alliance had high status. With Luli around, no warrior dared to bully the disciples of the Lu alliance. Of course, the Lu alliance was under strict supervision. Any disciple of the Lu alliance that violated the rules would be punished severely. Those that violated the rules would be sent back to the Middle King worlds and never to come out again. Those that violated more serious rules would be executed without exception. The Middle King worlds had picked out 10,000 talented disciples as well. The news had spread back to the Middle King worlds. Many talented disciples were eager to come to the Chaotic Star region to develop themselves. Saint Emperor Xiaoyao didn't want to come out, but it didn't mean that he didn't want warriors of the Middle King worlds to develop well. Therefore, he was actively looking for talents and was ready. As soon as the powerful warriors of the Lu Alliance arrived, the 10,000 talented disciples would set off at once. The 10,000 disciples were of varying ages and abilities. Half of them were male, and half were female. The arrival of these talented disciples would strengthen the foundation of the Lu Alliance. As long as they could be trained, the foundation of the Lu Alliance would be solid. Mobilizing such a large number of talents would be detrimental to the Middle King worlds. The Middle King worlds were already weakened by the invasion of the Abyss of Demons and needed time to recover. Now that so many talents were mobilized, the number of powerful warriors of the Middle King worlds would be slowed down. That being said, this didn't matter to the Middle King worlds. As long as the Lu Alliance could gain a foothold in the Chaotic Star region, they could train more powerful warriors. Some of the powerful warriors will be tired of fighting here, or they would grow old. They would go back to their homeland. When they went back, there would be more than just 5 or 6 tribulations. There would be a large number of Emperor Realm warriors and even Saint Emperor Realm warriors. In addition, Luli brought back many resources as well, especially some steels carved with the laws and fundamental principles of the powerful warriors. Luli wanted to put them in a public place so that all the talented disciples of the Middle King worlds could study and cultivate. He just needed to control the number of people and the number of times. As far as Luli was concerned, the Middle King worlds were too small. At best, they were in the Chaotic Star region. They were all humans, and many of them were born in the Middle King worlds. They were of the same origin. There was no need for internal strife. They should unite and develop together. If they wanted to fight, they could do it in the Chaotic Star region. There were plenty of stages and enemies for them to fight. Luli wrote a letter to Saint Emperor Xiaoyao, who followed Luli's instructions to the letter. Luli was the most successful person in the Middle King worlds. More importantly, he had a heart of universal love. He wanted the entire Middle King world to grow stronger. Saint Emperor Xiaoyao was a man of great love as well. Naturally, he would follow Luli's instructions. Luli planned to cultivate here for a period of time to help the Lu family develop. That would take at least dozens or hundreds of years. Little White could not stay here all the time. It was time for him to go back and cultivate. Little White knew very well that his father's life was coming to an end. He could not go on fooling around. If he could not reach the consummate realm before his father passed away, not only would he die, but also many powerful warriors of the Lu family at the Eastern region. Chapter 3492. Half a year flashed by. Little White and Qi Shir had gone back. The situation in the Chaotic Star region had stabilized. After negotiations, the 11 forces became 12. The Alliance and the 11 forces agreed. After more than a dozen days of negotiations, the 12 forces came up with rules. Referring to the situation in the Infinite Star region, the 12 forces here were named as 12 Masters, an alliance of attack and defense. From now on, there would only be 12 Masters in the Chaotic Star region. Anyone that dared to challenge the 12 forces would be attacked by them together. At the same time, some rules were laid down. Any internal disputes would be submitted to the arbitration committee. Each of the 12 forces would send a patriarch. The 12 patriarchs voted that the decision of the arbitration committee was the highest authority and must be carried out. With so many disciples and powerful warriors of the 12 forces, there would be disputes. Also, the territories of the 12 forces were next to each other. There wouldn't be any problems in the short term, but over time, there would be conflicts. The 12 forces were divided into strong and weak ones as well. There would be bullying that could lead to wars. By then, the alliance of the 12 forces would disappear and the chaotic star region would return to its former state of chaos. The 12 forces divided up almost 80% of the resources and lands in the chaotic star region, leaving only thousands of universes. Some of these realms were quite fertile, but most of them were quite barren. Now, those barren universes were being fought over by tens of thousands of minor races and forces. The 12 forces had a large territory, and they began to recruit some forces secretly. As long as they were willing to join them, they would give them resources and territory. Their original purpose in doing this was to snatch territory and martial artists, and to recruit those small clans to help them fight for them and help them guard their territory. Luli didn't pay much attention to what happened next. He told the 9 leaders that he was not in charge, and they didn't have to ask him unless it was something serious. The Grimstar region had more branches. Even though the territory had grown, it wasn't difficult to manage it. The Chaotic Star region had nothing to worry about, so Luli didn't have to worry. In a Lu alliance, Luli placed some people into the Grimstar region. The positions were not high, but they were all in key departments. Luli took the positions of 3 commanders for the intelligence department. Naturally, he wanted to know everything about the Grimstar region. He didn't want the Lu family of the Lu Alliance to be killed without him knowing. One was the intelligence department, one was the internal affairs department, and the last one was the cultivation department. Luli had assigned positions to these 3 departments. Although the positions were not high, they were all positions of power. In the intelligence department, Luli would be in charge of information. In the internal affairs department, he would be in charge of the income and expenditure figures of the Grim Reaper. In the cultivation department, he would be in charge of training new talents to join the Lu Alliance and strengthen it. As for the combat department, the assassin department, or the external affairs department, Luli didn't place anyone there. The Lu Alliance didn't have many strong cultivators. What was the point of inserting them? As long as he knew the situation of these 3 departments, Luli would have a certain degree of control over the Grim Reaper. At the very least, he wouldn't be blind or deaf. If anything happened, he would know immediately. The 10,000 elites from the Middle King realm had arrived. Instead of sending them to the other 10 universes, Luli chose to send them to the Heavenland universe. Lu Meng had been managing this interface for a long time. The situation here was relatively stable. Many of these 10,000 warriors were very weak. Some of them were only a few years old. They needed to be taken good care of. Qi Wangshan personally went to the Tianlu realm and was in charge of nurturing these seedlings. They were the future hope of the Lu Alliance, so he naturally wanted to focus on nurturing them. A large number of resources were sent over. Qi Wangshan came up with a complete set of training methods, some of which were the methods of the Yu family and the Mo family. Qi Wangshan believed that given several hundred years, he could train a large number of powerful warriors. Many of them would reach the Saint Emperor realm, if not the Saint Emperor realm. Lu Li and his wives went there in person to meet the 10,000 talented disciples. Lu Li was the guardian of the Middle King realm, the most powerful warrior there. He was also the chief of the Lu Alliance. When the 10,000 geniuses saw Lu Li, they felt they had met their idol. They respected and loved Lu Li from the bottom of their hearts. Many of them grew up listening to the legendary stories of Lu Li. Now that they were fortunate enough to meet such a great man, how could they not be excited? Lu Li made his speech, which was engraved in the minds of the 10,000 geniuses. They would never forget it for the rest of their lives. My name is Lu Li. I think many of you know me. Today, I am here to visit you. After a long journey, you have left your homes and come here. You must have had a hard time. What I want to say is, we have had a hard time as well. The first batch of warriors that came here all had a hard time. Not only did they have a hard time, but many of them paid with their lives. From now on, you will have a hard time as well. Some of you will die here. Your bones will be buried in a foreign land, and your souls will never be able to return to your homeland. Death is the final destination of a warrior. I think you have heard of this. As long as you embark on the path of martial arts, you will either have a meteoric rise or die a tragic death at the hands of your enemies. Death is not scary. What is scary is that death has no value. Some of you may die in the future, but your death will be valuable because you will die for the rise of the Middle King realm. Maybe you don't know much about the Chaotic Star region. Let me give you a simple metaphor and you will understand. If the Middle King realm is a well, then the Chaotic Star region is a lake and the Immortal region is an ocean. In the past, we were like frogs at the bottom of the well. We didn't know how big the world was or how powerful the powerful warriors out there were. You all know about the Abyss of Demons, right? Once, the Abyss of Demons almost wiped out our Middle King realm and all of us. The Abyss of Demons is only a small race in the Chaotic Star region. There are tens of thousands of races like the Abyss of Demons. That is to say, any small race in the Chaotic Star region can destroy our Middle King realm. There are 8 places like the Chaotic Star region, 8 major galaxies, and the Immortal region's powerful warriors combined are not as powerful as them. Now you all know how weak the Middle King realm is? We're a small boat in the ocean, let alone the wind and waves. Even a passing sea beast can destroy us. Once, when the Gue race invaded, more than half of the powerful warriors of the Middle King realm died, and the population was reduced by half. The entire Middle King realm is now in the wilderness, and there are still bones everywhere. If we don't want this tragedy to happen again, I can't rely on myself. I need all of you to become stronger. Not only you, I hope that everyone in the Middle King realm can become dragons, and we will never be bullied again. I'll provide you with a platform, a large amount of resources, and the best cultivation environment. I'll also provide you with the best training grounds. When you become stronger, you can stay or return to the Middle King realm or even join other forces. As long as there is no large-scale infighting, I don't care where you go. I only hope that you will become a spark and lead the Middle King realm to become stronger step by step. Let us not become the overlord of the world, but at least we can protect ourselves and no other races will bully and kill us. Let me tell you, are you willing to work hard for the rise of the Middle King realm? Yes. Yes. 10,000 people shouted in unison. Many children's faces were flushed, and countless warriors' blood was boiling. Luli had planted a seed in their minds. He had made them understand why they were cultivating and why they were fighting. With the passage of time, these seeds would slowly sprout, grow, and eventually grow into towering trees. Chapter 3493. The heavenly chaotic star field was no longer chaotic. Except for the southeast corner, the rest of the area was quiet. If experts from other star fields came here, they would probably think that they had gone the wrong way. The 12 forces all got busy, digesting their territories and reorganizing their internal affairs. Only the thousands of Starfield in the southeast had tens of thousands of small clans fighting fiercely over those barren realms. For a little bit of resources and treasured lands, they fought with their lives on the line, bathed in blood. According to the intelligence gathered by the Death God Scouts, hundreds of millions of warriors had died in battle in the thousands of starfields in the southeast over the past year. Many small clans were wiped out, the scene too horrible to endure. There were also many small races that were recruited by the major factions. The Grim Reaper had recruited more than 30 small races, all of which were considered relatively strong and had special abilities. The Grim Reaper's external assassination department was established, and it began to establish branches in the other 7 major galaxies. They didn't try to hide it, and they raised the banner of the Grim Reaper. Furthermore, they made an announcement through the local forces that the Grim Reaper had officially accepted the assassination business. As long as the Grim Reaper accepted a mission, the Grim Reaper had to complete it. Otherwise, the Grim Reaper would have to pay 10 times the compensation. The situation in the chaotic starfields had been known for a long time. Due to the great changes in the chaotic starfields, some of the major clans in the 7 major starfields had sent scouts there. Back in the day, the GUIs had also arranged scouts in other star regions. They would naturally report any major events. The defeat of the Gooeys was all thanks to the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper was very famous in the 7 major star fields. Now that the Grim Reaper wanted to expand its business, the local clans did not stop it. First of all, the Grim Reaper was doing well in the heavenly chaotic starfield. He would not come to their starfield. Secondly, many large clans also needed organizations like the Grim Reaper to help them with some shady matters. An external force like the Grim Reaper was the best choice. If something went wrong, they would go to the Grim Reaper. If they had the guts, they could go to the Grim Reaper's headquarters in the chaotic starfields. This time, the Grim Reaper occupied several times the territory, and the number of experts under him also increased by countless times. Many of the old devils that relied on assassinations to earn celestial stones weren't willing to take up a post and went to oversee other places. They all chose to join the Death God's assassination department. In any case, the assassination was still an assassination. The Grim Reaper would also help you with the intelligence, logistics, and support. They could just focus on the assassination. Due to the Grim Reaper's fame, the External Affairs Department quickly received some orders. The Grim Reaper immediately arranged for elite troops. The first shot had to be fired, and it had to be done well. The quest completion rate had to reach 100%. The 3 tycoons have been personally monitoring this business recently to prevent any problems from arising. If they really couldn't handle it, they would personally take action. Grim Reaper was in luck. The first wave of missions was executed perfectly, and the Grim Reaper got off to a good start. After all, he was the ancestor of the assassin world. The first mission he took was not particularly difficult. Grim Reaper dispatched a group of elites, so it was naturally easy to carry out. As for the transformation of the Grim Reaper Assassin Department, the 10 magnates had unanimously approved it. The tradition of assassins could not be abandoned. Not only did they have to take care of many old demons who made a living from assassinations, but they also had to improve their combat strength. The Grim Reaper warriors were basically invincible in the outside world. This was because the Grim Reaper warriors had to go through countless bloody battles. The Grim Reapers who could survive were all very strong. The Grim Reaper warriors were of the same realm, and some of their skills were even more powerful than the Grim Reapers. In the end, the Grim Reaper would win. Realm and skills were not the only factor in a fight. There were many factors that could lead to victory. At the very least, the survival rate of the Grim Reaper was high, and the Grim Reaper was the best at escaping. Many warriors of the Lu Alliance joined the Grim Reaper department, not for the bounty, but to hone their abilities. It was also the easiest to improve in battles of life and death. This was because it was easy for a martial artist to have an epiphany, and it was also easy to stimulate a martial artist's potential. Luli spent a lot of celestial stones and bought tens of thousands of steels. They were all placed in the mystic armor city of the Heaven Continent region. Disciples of the Lu Alliance could go in and study at will. This was a direct way to learn the fundamental principles of formations. As long as one was talented and diligent enough, it would be a piece of cake for him to improve his realm. Luli believed that in time, there would be a large number of great Emperor Realm warriors in the Lu Alliance. Luli went into closed-door cultivation after spending some time with his family. He went directly to the realm of magic to cultivate. He wanted to learn the traceless way, learn the traceless saber, and find a way to dissolve the tripod. After Luli went in, the tripod didn't come over to suppress him. It floated in midair quietly. Luli didn't mind the tripod. He sat on the ground with his legs crossed and cultivated with the traceless saber in his hand. He left 2 jade talismans outside, one for Lu Ren Huang and the other for Lu Ling. They would inform him as soon as something happened. Therefore, he didn't have to worry. Nothing big would happen in the chaotic star region. The 12 races wouldn't fight among themselves. Their combined strength could even hold off the allied forces from other galaxies for some time. Luli had been studying the traceless way for a long time. He had made some progress. Of course, there was still a long way to go before he could master it. The traceless way was the most powerful skill for escaping. If he could master it, not even warriors at the peak realm would be able to detect him. With the traceless saber in hand, It was easier to learn the traceless way because the traceless way was engraved in the traceless saber. Luli immersed himself in the traceless saber. Gradually, he disappeared on the spot and then reappeared again, faintly discernible. It was quite mysterious. The amazing thing was, while Luli was studying the traceless way, the tripod began to spin slowly. The entire Dharma realm glowed faintly. The source energy in the Dharma realm was flowing slowly as if it was resonating with Luli. Time flew by. One couldn't feel the passage of time when he was cultivating. Soon 2 years had passed. Luli's jade talisman was still intact, which meant that nothing was happening outside. As long as the jade talisman was intact, Luli wouldn't stop cultivating. He planned to cultivate until he mastered the traceless way. Nothing had happened out there. The chaotic sky star area was very stable. Every place was recovering, and everything seemed to be thriving. The southeast was stable as well. The universes had been divided up. Basically, there were no large-scale battles. The battles in the chaotic star region were brutal. More than 30% of the powerful warriors of the chaotic star region were killed. With the departure of the Guam race, the overall strength was reduced by 40%. Therefore, the 12 masters had come up with a plan to rest for 100 years. During the 100 years, no large-scale battles were allowed. The truce would allow the chaotic star region to produce some powerful warriors to enhance the overall strength. In 100 years, many powerful warriors would emerge. Of course, the more powerful the warriors were, the weaker the weak. The 12 forces that controlled a large amount of resources would have more powerful warriors. By then, the 12 forces would have a stable position. In a few hundred years, the chaotic star region would be like the infinite star region. The 12 forces would become the masters, and the other forces would have to be subordinate to them. It was worth mentioning that the Lang Ding race and the Yu race had basically surrendered to the 12 factions. However, the Hu race, the Rainbow race, and several other major races had left with the Gue race. Their hatred for Lu Li was too deep. They were afraid that Lu Li would seek revenge. Hence, they had to leave. Third Patriarch. Chapter 3494. Spring came and went. Flowers wilted and bloomed. 8 years passed in the blink of an eye. Rustle, rustle, rustle. In a mystic armor city of the Heavenland region, a man walked in. Seeing Lu Renhuang and Lu Ling sitting there, he said with a smile, "How come you have time to come here today?" Lu Renhuang said with a smile, "Wang Shan, the Lu Alliance is fine now. What is important is you. How is it going? The 10,000 warriors have been here for 10 years, right? How is it going?" "Not bad." Chi Wang Shan took out a booklet, read it, and said, "When we first came, the highest was the 5th tribulation. Most of them are at the 3 tribulations or 4 tribulations. Now, there is a warrior of the great Emperor realm. There are more than 130 at the 6th tribulation and more than 2,800 at the 5th tribulation. The rest are all at the 4th tribulation." Oh, Lu Renhuang had been busy with other matters and hadn't been here for a long time. Therefore, he didn't know the situation. He was shocked and asked, "Someone has reached the great Emperor realm so soon?" "Yes," Chi Wang Shan said with a smile. "He is not even 300 years old. He is a disciple of a family at the Flying Fireland. He is very talented. I think he has a good chance to reach the Saint Emperor realm. He is the one we should focus on." "That's fine." Lu Renhuang waved his hand. "But don't turn him into a pretty face. Don't be afraid that something will happen to him. We must train him and cooperate with him. We would rather have a group of powerful warriors at the 6th tribulation than a pampered warrior of the great Emperor realm." "Don't worry." Chi Wangshan nodded. "I'm patient enough. I will not only look at realms. Combat abilities are the core standard. The warriors that left the God of Death have founded a new organization at the southeast called the Hell. We have talked to the patriarchs there. Our warriors will be asked to take on some small tasks. Some of them have been sent to the assassin department of the God of Death. They will go on missions in other galaxies. For one thing, they can broaden their horizons. For another, they can go through life and death battles to hone their abilities. Let's go and have a look." Lu Ling said after some thoughts, "How about we organize a match? Let's see the average combat abilities. Of course. Qi Wangshan nodded his head and said, we often organize this kind of competition, and they all see blood. Many times, there are martial artists who are heavily injured. We've prepared the best medicine here. You'll be able to recover after resting for a while. Take a seat first. I'll make the arrangements. Qi Wangshan went out. An hour later, the arrangements were made. It was a competition in a secret realm. By the time Lu Ling and Lu Renhuang went in, the fights had already begun. Many groups were fighting. The secret realm was quite spacious. Lu Ling and Lu Renhuang used psychic power to check. They found dozens of warriors were fighting and several teams were fighting. Greetings, elders. Lu Renhuang and Lu Ling were both patriarchs of the Lu Alliance, with patriarch badges hanging on their chests. What was more, one of them was Lu Li's father, and the other was Lu Li's sister. To many men, Lu Ling was a goddess. Many young warriors, including young masters of the Qi family, Xiang family, Hua family, and Yin family, were interested in her. This one had reached the Emperor realm. He was elegant and unparalleled. More importantly, she was Lu Li's sister, the actual manager of the Lu Alliance. If he could marry Lu Ling, it would be like a carp leaping through the dragon's gate, and his status would be elevated. Unfortunately, Lu Ling didn't like any of them. Over the years, many young men had pursued Lu Ling. Li Gu even used the Li family to pressure the Lu family and try to force Lu Ling to marry her. In the end, he went for wool and came home shorn. Li Gu was killed. Lu Renhuang was getting impatient. He thought it was time for Lu Ling to get married, given her realm and her age. She couldn't stay alone forever. That being said, Lu Renhuang had mentioned it several times, and Lu Ling had turned him down, which worried him. Lu Renhuang did hear some rumors. It was said that Lu Ling liked Lu Li, and Lu Li had some special feelings for her. Lu Renhuang didn't object to this. They grew up together, but they were not biological siblings. There was no such thing as incest. It was a pity that Lu Li and Lu Ling didn't make any progress. Lu Renhuang and Lu Ling watched for an entire afternoon. Both were satisfied. Qi Wangshan didn't slack off for the past 10 years. Overall, his abilities were quite good. At this rate, there would be a group of great Emperor Realm warriors in dozens or hundreds of years. They would be the mainstay of the Lu Alliance. When will the second batch of talents arrive? Lu Renhuang asked Qi Wangshan. Qi Wangshan thought about it and said soon. I heard that they are ready. I think they will be here in a year at most. Okay. Lu Renhuang nodded and said, from now on, you will be in charge of this. Let us know if there are any difficulties. I hope that in a few hundred years, we can have 100 great Emperor Realm warriors. 100? Qi Wangshan was surprised. Then he nodded and said, that is possible. Alas, I didn't expect that we would have the chance to train hundreds of great Emperor Realm warriors and even Saint Kings when we cannot reach the great Emperor Realm ourselves. I didn't even dare to think about this before. The Qi family once had a great Emperor Realm warrior, the Reincarnation Emperor. When the Reincarnation Emperor died in battle, Qi Wangshan and the entire Qi family felt the sky was falling. They thought the Qi family would never rise again. But now, Qi Wangshan had the chance to train dozens or hundreds of great Emperor Realm warriors and even Saint Kings. If the Reincarnation Emperor could see this from heaven, he would be smiling in the underworld. The three of them went back to the castle. Qi Wangshan asked the servants to serve tea and asked, how is the situation out there? Is there anything new? I don't have enough information here. I don't even know what is going on out there. Has Lu Li come out? Lear has been in closed-door cultivation. Lu Renhuang explained. He said before that this closed-door cultivation could last for decades. He must be cultivating some kind of powerful law and fundamental principle. Don't worry about it. He will come out when he wants to. Anything new in the God of Death? Yes, there is. A young master of the gang race seemed to have committed a crime and was sentenced by the Hall of Judgment. He will be imprisoned for 10,000 years. 10,000 years? Qi Wangshan was startled. This young master was at the age where he was showing off. The gang race was the most powerful race in the Chaotic Star region. Locking him up for 10,000 years would drive him crazy before he could come out. Qi Wangshan asked in a hurry, Is the gang race okay with that? Even if they are, they must keep it to themselves. Lu Renhuang said with a smile. If it were not for the fact that he is a young master of the gang race, the sentence would not have been so harsh. It is because he is a young master of the gang race that the other races are working together to suppress him. The Hall of Judgment has 12 votes, one for each force. The gang race sought help from some other races, but they only got 3 votes. It was agreed that the Hall of Judgment is the highest court of judgment and cannot be overruled. Therefore, this young master has to be locked up in a dangerous secret realm. Qi Wangshan understood now. The gang race was getting ahead of themselves, especially the young generation of the gang race. They thought that the gang race had replaced the Dun race as the overlord, so they were stirring up trouble everywhere. The other major races were telling them that times were different. It was no longer the era of one overlord, but the era of 12 overlords. Third Master. Chapter 3495. In the realm of magic, Lu Li was still cultivating. His body was still flickering. One moment, he would materialize, and the next moment, he would vanish on the spot. The traceless saber in his hand was glowing as well. There was a flow of qi and energy. In the distance, the tripod was moving slowly, and so was the realm of magic. There was a flow of qi and energy in many places. The origin energy in the middle was moving slowly. It was strange. After almost 10 years, Lu Li had made great progress on the traceless Tao. He felt he was not far away from the ultimate achievement. With the traceless saber in his hand, he had been releasing the traceless Tao over the years. His understanding of the traceless Tao had deepened. 10 years was neither a long time nor a short time. Naturally, it was difficult to learn a powerful Tao. Normally, it would take decades or hundreds or even thousands of years. But Lu Li felt the progress was smooth. Lu Li was thinking about this as well. He somehow felt there was a strange Tao rhythm in the realm of magic. With this Tao rhythm, it was easier for him to learn Tao. Of course, it might be an illusion, but it was true that the traceless Tao was progressing well. Lu Li believed he could master the traceless Tao in another 3 to 5 years. That was why Lu Li was still in cultivation. He was prepared to comprehend the traceless Tao to great success in one go. Otherwise, if he was interrupted, his next seclusion wouldn't be as smooth. Let me take a rest. Lu Li stopped after several more days of cultivation. Miraculously, as soon as he stopped, his body was no longer flickering and the traceless saber in his hand was quiet again. That tripod stopped glowing and the realm of magic returned to normal. Lu Li didn't move. He sat with his legs crossed and fell asleep. He resumed cultivation after 3 days of sleep. The traceless saber glowed again and the tripod glowed again. The realm of magic was the same as before. Origin energy was flowing slowly. It was as if Lu Li was in harmony with the traceless Tao. Lu Li himself could not see such a miraculous scene, or else he would be shocked as well. The outside world was still extremely peaceful. The 12 forces were all recuperating, developing, and strengthening. Some young masters and young ladies of the major families wanted to take action. But after the young master of the gang race was sentenced to 10,000 years in prison, they all behaved themselves. The gang tribe understood the situation. Although they were the strongest tribe, they were not the overlord. Even if the other 11 forces joined forces, they wouldn't be able to do anything. Therefore, if he wanted to become a true overlord, he couldn't rely on brute force. He needed political struggle. Divide and rope them in. Right now, the 12 great powers were fighting for themselves and had yet to form an alliance. If they secretly formed an alliance with a few large clans or subdued a few weaker clans, then the Judiciary Hall would have more votes. At that time, even if there were any disputes, the Judiciary Hall would be able to control the situation. The second-ranked great clan, the Huang clan, also understood this. The third and fourth-ranked great clans also began to try to recruit them. The votes of the Judiciary Hall became very important. For example, if there was a big dispute between 2 big clans and both sides were in the wrong, then the votes of the Judiciary Hall would become very important. The gang race and the second and third ranked races all came to recruit the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper held a meeting and wanted to invite Lu Li, but Lu Li was in closed-door cultivation. After some discussion, the 9 magnates decided to remain neutral. They would maintain good relations with any race, but they would not be biased towards any race. The 9 magnates knew very well that Lu Li had the support of the Eastern region and Xian region. The Grim Reaper's status was superior. As long as the Grim Reaper didn't stir up any trouble, then the other major clans wouldn't dare to mess with the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper's assassin business was not focused on internal affairs. It would take a long time for the Grim Reaper to fully digest and develop such a large territory. Therefore, for the time being, the Grim Reaper wouldn't have any conflicts of interest with the other major clans. The Grim Reaper wouldn't expand. If so, why should they form an alliance with the other clans? Staying neutral was the best strategy. The 33 major clans in the barren universe would die out and be replaced one day. Here, it was hard to say that one of the major clans wouldn't be destroyed all of a sudden. Therefore, it was pointless to form an alliance with any of the major clans. As long as Lu Li was alive and the Grim Reaper didn't stir up trouble, the Grim Reaper's status would be the highest among the 12 forces. The 9 magnates made a plan for 100 years. During the 100 years, the Grim Reaper wouldn't stir up any trouble in the Chaotic Star region. Even the average Grim Reaper wouldn't allow them to leave the territory controlled by the Grim Reaper. Any warrior that wanted to go out must be approved by the Hall of Patriarchs. For large-scale activities, Patriarchs had to watch in person. There was only one goal: stability and development. First, the Grim Reaper would digest the territory and stabilize the internal structure. Then, the Grim Reaper would have 100 years to develop. The Grim Reaper had just transformed. It would take a long time for it to become a cohesive force with strong combat abilities and execution. The internal structure of the Grim Reaper wasn't ready yet. It would take time to perfect. Locking up the warriors all the time was not the same thing. Did they want to fight, explore, or have fun? That was okay. The Grim Reaper welcomed them. Of course, the Grim Reaper could only go to other galaxies. After all, the Grim Reaper's power was limited in other galaxies. The chances of dying on missions would be much higher. Report. In the Hall of Patriarchs of the Grim Reaper came a voice. It was urgent. Clearly, something had happened. Emperor Yin and the others' expressions immediately turned grim. An overlord quickly rushed in and handed a letter to an elder. That patriarch handed the letter to Emperor Yin. The latter took a few glances and was filled with killing intent. He left after saying something and went to a castle in the backyard. This castle was where the 9 magnates gathered and chatted when they had nothing to do. At this moment, 4 magnates were sitting here. Seeing Emperor Yin walk in with a gloomy expression, the 4 magnates felt that something was wrong. Emperor Yin was a steady person and rarely showed such an expression. Feather Emperor was impatient. He asked directly, "What happened? Heavenly Dipper Galaxy?" Emperor Yin didn't keep him in suspense and explained, "The 60 strongholds we built in the Heavenly Dipper Starfield were all wiped out overnight. The death gods we sent to guard and carry out missions added up to a total of several thousand, including 3 elders. All of them were killed. Moreover, all their corpses were hung outside our branch." Bang! Feather Emperor slammed his hand, and the jade table exploded. He stood up angrily and roared, "Who did it? This is a declaration of war against our Grim Reaper." The Grim Reaper had been plotting in the 7 major galaxies for 10 years. They had secretly built many strongholds in each galaxy. When they first entered the 7 major galaxies, it was very smooth. There were almost no major incidents in the past 10 years. But now, all the strongholds in a major galaxy had been wiped out overnight. This was clearly targeting the Grim Reaper. Wing Monarch was also here. He wasn't anxious and didn't ask anything. Since more than 30 strongholds have been wiped out, and the martial artists that were almost all dead, he definitely wouldn't be able to get anything out of them. If he wanted to find out which force did it, he would have to send top-notch scouts to investigate. He pondered for a moment and said, "Emperor Yin, invite Emperor Li and the others here. It seems that we are in big trouble this time." We old things need to make a trip to Heavenly Dipper Galaxy. Third Sect Leader. Chapter 3496. Emperor Li came, and Emperor Yin sent a patriarch to invite Lu Li. However, Lu Li was in closed-door cultivation. That patriarch thought that since he had to go and check first, he could invite Lu Li after he found out the truth. The 9 magnates discussed for a while and set the tone. This time, an eye for an eye. No matter which clan it was, the Grim Reaper had to retaliate. Otherwise, not only would it be a blow to Grim Reaper's prestige, but if he died in the 7 major star fields in the future, he would no longer need to take on any missions, and the Grim Reaper Assassin Department might as well disband. The Grim Reaper decided to send the 2 leaders and countless top scouts to the Heavenly Dipper sector. No matter what, he had to investigate the situation first and see which faction did it. The Winged Sovereign and the Boost Sovereign made their move. These 2 were the strongest in terms of scouting. This news was temporarily blocked. The 2 giants brought dozens of their most powerful scouts to the Heavenly Dipper sector. Although there weren't many of them, they were the top scouts of the Grim Reaper. Their stealth and camouflage skills were the best in the world. They could easily sneak into the Heavenly Dipper Star region and then quietly gather information. The Winged Monarch and the others left, and the others began to prepare for battle. This time, even if they were the overlords of the Big Dipper Star Field, they would not give up. Even if he couldn't kill the supreme expert of that great clan, he could at least assassinate their clansmen, right? The situation in the Heavenly Dipper Star region was also very complicated. They could easily hide in different places and find the people of the big races to assassinate. Time passed quickly, and a year passed. Winged Sovereign and Boost Sovereign returned. All the giants immediately gathered together. Feather Sovereign was an impatient person, so he immediately asked, "How was it? Did you find out?" The Winged Monarch nodded and took out a map. He circled 2 points on it and said, "It was these 2 races that did it. One is called the Carp Race, and the other is called the Crimson Dragon Race. The Scarlet Dragon Race is the main culprit, and the Carp Race is the mastermind. The Scarlet Dragon Race is now the Carp Race's little brother. The Carp Race is ranked 14th in the Heavenly Dipper Star Field. They don't have any Perfection Realm experts, but they have more than 20 experts who are infinitely close to Perfection Realm." Crimson Dragon Race? The Feather Emperor frowned as if he had thought of something. He said, "During the incident with the Rainbow Race, wasn't there also a Crimson Dragon Race?" "This is it." King of Wings nodded and said, "The Red Dragon Race has a history with Lu Li. I think they're trying to get back at Lu Li by massacring our clan." "Oomph." Emperor Bu snorted and said, "Where is Lu Li? Let him deal with the trouble he caused himself." After stirring up such a big mess, he didn't even show his face. "He's in seclusion." Emperor Mo glanced at Emperor Bu and said, "Don't go overboard. If it weren't for Lu Li, the Grim Reaper would have been doomed. Don't say such things in the future. It will affect the unity. How can we develop if we are not united?" "Yes." The Feather Emperor also nodded and said, "Don't say such things in the future. Since the Carp Clan and the Crimson Dragon Clan want to play, then we'll play with them. Aren't they just 20 or so powerhouses who are infinitely close to the consummate level? Let's kill our way over and slowly exterminate them." The 9 powerhouses of the Grim Reaper were also powerhouses who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm, but they were very confident. They were not ordinary powerhouses, they were the top assassins in this world, and they were almost invincible in the same realm. One-on-one, they were not afraid of anyone. Moreover, they were good at creating opportunities, looking for the most suitable time to kill in one strike. Revenge. The Carp Clan and the Crimson Dragon Clan must be slaughtered. Soon, the 9 powerhouses of the Grim Reaper set the tone. If they could not win this battle and convince the 2 races, the Grim Reaper would not only be humiliated in the Chaotic Star region, but also become a laughingstock in the other 8 galaxies. In the future, the Grim Reaper's business in the 7 galaxies would be difficult to expand. Their branches in other galaxies might be attacked as well. "This time we have found an ally," the King of Wings said with a smile. "There's an organization similar to the Grim Reaper over there, called the Hall of Thorns. But it is weak. We have talked to their leader. This time, they will help us to get our revenge. But when we get back to the Dipper Galaxy, they want 20% of the profits. Of course, they will provide us with intelligent support. 20%? The King of Wings glared and said, "Why don't they just rob us? They want 20% just for some intelligent support? Not in their dreams." Some of the giants were also a little unhappy. Just providing a little bit of information, and they were getting 20%. This wasn't a one-time deal, but a long-term deal. The Grim Reaper was risking their lives to kill, and many of them were risking their lives to kill. But the powerhouses of the Grim Reaper were just sitting there and collecting money. How could there be such a good deal? Yes. The King of Wings nodded and said, "I've talked to them, and they agreed to give us 10% of the profits. Now, they are cooperating with us to find out more about the two races." 10% is fine. Emperor Lee nodded. The other powerhouses looked better. They didn't mind 10%. As long as they could work together to wipe out the Red Dragon race and the Carp race, they didn't mind sharing some. The local tyrants were more useful than the powerhouses, but they were not as good as the local tyrants in terms of intelligence. After some discussion, Emperor Mo decided to lead a team in person. Emperor Lee would stay here, and Emperor Mo, the King of Wings, and King of Dipper would go. More than half of the Grim Reaper's trump card and half of the Golden Reaper would go. They would not stop until the two races were defeated. Should we inform Lu Li? One of the powerhouses asked. It was said that Lu Li's stealth skills were unparalleled in the world. What was more, the Red Dragon race was here for Lu Li. Lu Li should contribute, right? It was said that Lu Li was quite capable. In a sneak attack, he could kill a warrior close to the consummate realm. Lu Li would be a force to be reckoned with. No, Emperor Mo waved his hand. Lu Li has been in closed-door cultivation for 11 years. He must be at a critical juncture in his cultivation. We are not going to start a war openly. I don't think it is too tricky. Let's go and make the first move. If we can't make it, then we will call him. Sure. Emperor Lee nodded and said, even though we've kept the news under wraps, it's still spread across the 7 major star areas. The chaotic star areas have also heard about it. Therefore, we must be steady and careful. We cannot afford to make any mistakes. Don't worry. Emperor Mo nodded with a proud look on his face. He was not a figurehead. He had earned his position by killing his way to the top. The other powerhouses were the same. All of them were strong. It had been years since they fought. Last time in the Hayman region, they didn't have enough fun. They were excited to start their career as assassins again. 10 days later, many huge battleships left from the Heaven Crossing region. The 5 powerhouses set off with more than 100 Golden Reapers trump cards and thousands of Golden Reapers. This time, the news could no longer be sealed off. The entire Grim Reaper city was stirred up. It had been a long time since such a large-scale expedition was launched. This time, they were going to the Heaven Dipper Galaxy. It was as if they were going to show off their country's might. Since Lu Li had planted disciples of the Lu Alliance in the intelligence department, Lu Ling was aware of everything. Lu Ling and Lu Renhuang were not worried. Neither the Dace race nor the Red Dragon race had warriors at the consummate realm. The 5 powerhouses and so many Reapers would return in triumph. Chapter 3497. A large number of warriors from the intelligence department were mobilized there, and some communication altars were set up there. If anything happened, they would send a message back immediately. They would also send a message every half a month to report on the situation there. Emperor Mo and the others spent half a year to get there. They didn't make a move right away. Instead, they began to gather information and make a detailed plan. Assassination was not a simple matter. They couldn't just charge into the territory of the Carp race and the Crimson Dragon race and start a massacre. It depended on how to achieve the most results with the least amount of effort and how to retreat after the deed was done without being hunted down by the two races. After 3 months of investigation, Emperor Mo and the others had a certain degree of confidence. They made a battle plan and sent it to the headquarters of the God of Death. Emperor Li and the others studied it and didn't think there was any problem, so they agreed to carry it out. Emperor Mo and the others moved out in person. They each led a team to attack the domains occupied by the carp race. They left the Crimson Dragon race alone. The Crimson Dragon race was a bit weak. They came from the Infinite Star region. Although they had recovered some strength in these years, their overall strength was still not enough. There were only 3 experts infinitely close to the Great Perfection level and about 300 Saint Emperors. This was too insignificant for the God of Death. As soon as the battle began, they easily succeeded. The 5 squads successfully massacred 5 realms, slaughtering many soldiers and Saint Emperors. None of these domains had experts infinitely close to the Great Perfection level. This was deliberately chosen by Emperor Mo to nibble away the strength of the carp race bit by bit. At the same time, it was to make the carp race panic and lose their cool. Only then could they be defeated easily. As expected, after the 5 domains were massacred, the entire Big Dipper Star region was in an uproar. The God of Death also made an announcement through special channels, saying that this was revenge for the carp race's massacre. The God of Death officially declared war on the carp race today. After Emperor Mo and the others succeeded in their attack, they immediately split up and hid. This was a strategy they had prepared long ago. They would observe for a while and see the reaction of the carp race. If they were in a mess, then they could attack with all their strength. The local assassin organization, the Assassin Hall, sent out all the scouts. Countless reports came back, which made Emperor Mo and the others very happy. The carp race was indeed in a mess, and there seemed to be internal strife. They were divided into 2 factions, one in charge of fighting and the other in charge of defending. The subsidiary tribes below were terrified. Of course, there were also countless scouts searching everywhere like headless flies in search of the Grim Reaper. Follow the plan and attack. After repeatedly confirming the authenticity of the information, Emperor Mo issued an order. The few magnates once again mobilized their troops and set off. This time, they were divided into 2 teams, one with 2 magnates and the other with 3 magnates. They were preparing to attack an important resource base of the carp race. These 2 realms were each guarded by a powerhouse who was infinitely close to the consummate level. Emperor Mo and the others were prepared to annihilate these 2 experts who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection realm and plunder all the resources in these 2 resource-rich places. If the situation was good, they could surround them and attack their reinforcements. The 2 teams of experts easily snuck into the 2 interfaces. This interface was a mess, and some of the soldiers and hidden scouts were listless. Emperor Mo led hundreds of Grim Reaper elites along the way and attacked one of the major cities in this interface. Kill. When they arrived near the main city, Emperor Mo personally went to investigate. After confirming that there was only one supreme expert in the city, he gave the order to attack. After countless experts rushed into the city was immediately bathed in blood. Countless soldiers did not even have the will to resist and directly fled. Swish! The expert who was infinitely close to the consummate level immediately fled, turning into a meteor as he rushed toward the north. Emperor Mo and the other magnates, Emperor Bu, sneered, trying to escape in front of the 2 magnates of the Grim Reaper. What a joke. Follow the plan. Emperor Mo ordered and then chased after the expert with Emperor Bu. Their speed was very fast, a bit faster than the expert who was infinitely close to the consummate level. In just the time for half an incense stick to burn, they easily caught up. Emperor Mo transmitted his voice, "Don't run. If you surrender, I will spare your life." Ha 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 ha. The expert laughed. Not only did he not run, but he also turned around and said with a mocking expression, "Emperor Mo, I have been waiting for you for a long time." Not good. Retreat. Seeing this scene, Emperor Mo immediately had a bad feeling. Years of battle instinct made him feel danger. His body immediately turned into a stream of light and shot backward at the fastest speed. The other magnate, Emperor Bu, did not react so quickly and was stunned for a moment. Chi-chi, whoosh! The space around them suddenly fluctuated. Then, a spear, a sharp sword, a stream of light, and a green arrow shot out. The other experts who were being chased earlier also attacked. 5 attacks came almost at the same time. Emperor Bu couldn't escape anymore. He could only fight to the death. Emperor Mo saw this scene from afar. He hesitated for a moment, wanted to turn back and kill, but in the end he turned around and left. This time, it was clear that they had fallen into a trap. Not only them, but the Grim Reaper elite team and the other team were also doomed. This time, as long as one could escape, revenge would be dealt with later. Only by staying alive would there be hope for revenge. He rushed out of this interface, wanting to sneak toward the preset escape route. After flying for a while, he suddenly realized something. Was that place not safe anymore? This time, their plan was not leaked. The Carp race controlled so many interfaces. How did they know that the Grim Reaper was going to attack this one? Also, the Carp race's behavior during this period of time was clearly an act. All of this was a conspiracy, and it was meant to target them. There is something wrong with Chi Tang. Emperor Mo's eyes suddenly narrowed as killing intent surged from his body. The Carp race couldn't possibly know their whereabouts so well. Furthermore, it looked like this had been planned for a long time. Many things didn't make sense. If the local assassin organization Chi Tang and the Carp race had been working together for a long time, then everything could be explained. Bang! He took out a gray command token and suddenly crushed it. This command token was a signal for everyone to retreat and leave the Heavenly Dipper star field. They were to gather in a small domain outside the star field. Even Chi Tang didn't know about this plan. It was a backup plan that Emperor Mo had carefully made. Since Chi Tang couldn't be trusted, Jiang Yi couldn't stay in the Heavenly Dipper star field for now. Otherwise, all the death gods would be killed by the Carp race. Jiang Yi hid quickly and carefully. After more than a month, he arrived at that domain. He was the fastest. There wasn't a single death god in this domain. He waited for a full 10 days before the first death god returned. Emperor Mo. After waiting for another 5 days, 2 formidable martial artists returned. Their faces were full of sorrow as they said, "We were ambushed. Something happened to Emperor Yu. Dead?" Emperor Mo's body trembled. The other formidable martial artist who went with him, Emperor Bu, hadn't returned after such a long time. He was probably dead. If Emperor Yu had also died, the death god would be greatly weakened this time. Chapter 3498. Inside the Tianyuan city, Emperor Li and the others were pacing up and down anxiously. It had been 2 months since Emperor Mo started the war. At first, there was some news, but then there was nothing. They had built a communication formation in the Diangong Galaxy. They were supposed to send messages every half a month. However, there had been no news for 2 months. Something must have gone wrong. More importantly, Emperor Bo had passed away. Emperor Bo was one of the leaders. His Jade Talisman of Life was broken, and Emperor Yu's Jade Talisman of Life was dim. Naturally, something must have gone wrong when a leader died. Therefore, during this time, Emperor Li and the others have been waiting for the latest news. Since Emperor Mo was still alive, he must have found a way to send back information. Without any information, Emperor Li and the others could do nothing but worry. After all, the Diangong Galaxy needed powerful warriors as well. If they went to the Diangong Galaxy without knowing the situation, they might be wiped out. By then, the Diangong Galaxy would be doomed. Since there was no accurate information, Emperor Li and the others did not alert Lu Li. Lu Ling learned from a disciple of the Lu Alliance in the intelligence department, but she did not know the details. Since Emperor Li had not informed her, she could not wake Lu Li up. After more than a month, the news finally came back. Emperor Mo had sent a few Ace Grim Reapers back, and they brought back the latest information. The local assassin organization of the Diangong Galaxy betrayed them and colluded with the Red Dragons of the Carp race. The assassins suffered a great loss. Emperor Bo died in battle, and Emperor Yu's body was destroyed. Only his soul was left. His soul was brought back by the Ace assassins. He needed to rebuild his body. Over half of the thousands of assassins were lost, and dozens of Ace assassins were killed. Emperor Mo was hiding in the outer region of the Diangong Galaxy, trying to gather information. He would ask Emperor Li to decide how to deal with the situation. Where is Emperor Yu's soul? Emperor Li and the others were furious. Even if Emperor Yu could rebuild his body, he could not return to his peak state. He would never be able to make progress. This was a great loss for the assassins. One of the ace death gods took out a spatial divine item, and Sovereign Li sent his divine will into it. He communicated with Sovereign Li's soul, then shouted, "Winged Sovereign, go and make the arrangements. Give Feather Sovereign the best divine materials and let him rebuild his body. There's no need to rush the rest of the matters. Let's discuss them at length." Sovereign of Wings went out to make some arrangements. 2 hours later, he came back. The other powerful warriors were all worried. After a pause, Sovereign of Wings said, "I will go and get Lu Li. He must be informed now that something of this magnitude has happened." Emperor Li nodded. Monarch of Wings flew out. Soon, he arrived at the Lu mansion and found Lu Ling. She crushed the jade talisman at once. A moment later, Lu Li walked out from palace. He had a look of pity on his face. The traceless Tao was about to reach large success, but he was woken up. If he had another 1 or 2 months, he would have absolute confidence in making a breakthrough. Of course, he knew very well that Lu Ling would not call him if there was nothing serious. He looked at the winged monarch and asked, "What happened?" "It's a long story." The avian monarch sighed slightly and waved his hand, saying, "Let's go. Let's go to the discussion hall first. I'll talk to you there." Lu Li left with Sovereign of Wings and arrived at the council hall. Somehow, Emperor Li and the others were relieved to see Lu Li. Lu Li was on good terms with Lu Xiaobai. Maybe he could borrow some powerful warriors from the eastern region, or he could ask Lu Xiaobai to come back and kill his way to the Tiangang galaxy. Here is what happened. Sovereign of Wings told Lu Li what had happened. Lu Li was taken aback by the end of the story, especially when he heard that Emperor Bu had died in battle and Emperor of Feather's body was destroyed. Lu Li pulled a long face. Murderous intent surged in his eyes as he snorted. "Red Dragon race? Good, very good." Lu Li knew very well that this was all because of him. The death of Lord Bu and the destruction of Lord Feather's body were all because of him. The Red Dragon race and Lu Li hated each other deeply. The fact that Lu Li had become a leader of the God of Death must have been known. How could the Red Dragon race not seek revenge when they learned that the God of Death had gone to the Tiangang galaxy? Lu Li, after Sovereign of Wings finished, Emperor Li asked, "How do you think we should deal with this? How about we go and ask young Master Little Bai for help?" Little Bai? Lu Li was speechless. Was Emperor Li addicted to relying on others? Did he need external help for everything? Asking for Little Bai's help at every turn? Should he ask Little Bai to mobilize powerful warriors of the eastern region to help the God of Death unify the 8 galaxies? Ridiculous. Lu Li was not the kind of person to ask for help. What was more, the master of the eastern region did not have long to live. Little Bai must seize the time to cultivate to reach the consummate realm. The master of the eastern region had too many enemies. Once he died, and Little Bai could not reach the consummate realm, then Little Bai would be hunted down by many powerful warriors. All the powerful warriors that followed the master of the eastern region would be killed as well. Therefore, whether Little Bai could reach the consummate realm or not was related to the welfare of the entire eastern region and the life and death of many powerful warriors and major races. Lu Li would not disturb Little Bai's cultivation for his own trifling matter. The master of the eastern region had always looked down on Lu Li. Lu Li would not ask for help for no reason. Waving his hand, Lu Li said, "No, you don't have to worry about this. I will go. The Red Dragon race and the Carp race? I swear I will not come back until I can defeat you." Emperor Li and Emperor of Wings looked at each other, speechless. Lu Li going? Emperor Mo and the others were almost killed. What could Lu Li do? As far as the leaders of the Grim Reaper were concerned, Lu Li's abilities were not as good as theirs. They allowed Lu Li to become a leader because they valued Lu Xiaobai, who was behind him. In the battle between the Grim Reaper and the Dawns, Lu Li took actions several times, but the 9 leaders did not know. They thought it was Lu Xiaobai who killed those powerful warriors and that it had nothing to do with Lu Li. What was more, Lu Li was still at the peak of the Emperor realm and had not reached the Saint Emperor realm. Out of instinct, they looked down on him. Emperor of Wings said in a euphemistic way, "Lu Li, don't let your emotions affect your decisions." Emperor Bo died because we were too careless. The Dons are more difficult to deal with than we thought. The first time they made a move, they set up an assassination. If it were not for the fact that Emperor Mo and the others reacted quickly, we would have been wiped out. Emperor Li nodded and said, "Lu Li, we are not in a hurry. The more we are in a hurry, the easier it will be for something to go wrong. We need to think about it at length. Uh-huh. Lu Li smiled and said in a serious tone, "Don't worry, guys. I am not hot-headed. Let me put it this way. I am so strong that no one below the absolute completion of my abilities can kill me. The Dons have no more absolute completion warriors. If so, what is there to worry about?" Emperor Li and Emperor of Wings were taken aback. Since when did Lu Li become so strong? Was he bluffing? Lu Li didn't want to waste time. He vanished on the spot. Emperor Li and the others tried to sense the surroundings, but could not find Lu Li. Buzzing. Lu Li showed up behind Emperor Li and said with confidence, "Now, you can put your mind at ease. You can worry about the matters at home. Leave the Dipper universe to me. I promise that the Dons and the Red Dragons will pay." Chapter 3499. Lu Li went back and gave some instructions. Then, he left with a few Grim Reapers. He did not bring the Grim Reapers with him to help, but to guide him to Emperor Mo. The battleship was provided by the Death Gods. It was neither too fast nor too slow. Lu Li didn't worry about anything else as soon as he boarded the battleship. He began to focus on the traceless path. He was about to master the traceless path. It would take him half a year to get to the Diangong Galaxy. He would try to finish the traceless path in half a year. The battleship flew in the void. There was no danger here. The Death Gods had been checking, and they would inform Lu Li at once if anything happened. Lu Li was cultivating. He should have been able to master the traceless path in a month. However, he was interrupted. Lu Li realized that his progress had slowed down. He had been studying for 3 months, but he had not made any progress. Maybe he had something on his mind. What happened in the Diangong Galaxy had disturbed him. He had been studying for half a year. When he arrived at the periphery of the Diangong Galaxy, he still could not master the traceless path. Just one more step. Lu Li felt he was not far away from mastery. He was only 1 step away. He had arrived at his destination. He could not stay here any longer. He had to stop cultivating. The Grim Reapers brought Lu Li into a region and found Emperor Mo and the others in a mountain. "Lu Li, what are you doing here?" Emperor Mo saw Lu Li. Lu Li was the only one here. 2 other warriors came out as well. Lu Li greeted them and said, "Thank you for your hard work. I will take care of the rest. How about you go back and rest now?" Emperor Mo and the others looked at each other, embarrassed. Was Lu Li getting too full of himself? Had he become arrogant after becoming a warrior? Emperor Mo and the other 4 warriors came, and 1 died, and 1 was injured. So many regular Death Gods had passed away. Now, Lu Li said he could handle it alone? Wouldn't that be belittling the other powerful warriors? One of the warriors was not convinced. He said with a straight face, "Lu Li, this is not a joke. Emperor Bo has passed away, and Emperor Yu's body was destroyed. If we underestimate our enemies, we will be killed." Lu Li nodded. "I know the severity. Don't worry. I know what to do. I will be fine as long as I'm not at the consummate realm." Emperor Mo frowned and asked, "Lu Li, how do you want to play? Tell me about it. Have you found any specific information recently?" Lu Li asked back. Emperor Mo nodded. He took out a map and began to explain in detail. Many circles were drawn on the map, marking the situation of each realm. For example, how many experts and soldiers there were in a certain realm, what kind of resources and treasures it was, and so on. Emperor Mo also told Lu Li about the situation of the Hall of Thorn and the Red Dragon race. After 2 hours, Lu Li felt more confident. He nodded and said, "Let's destroy the Hall of Thorn first. They are an assassin organization and a local tyrant. They have the advantage in intelligence. Let's destroy the Hall of Thorn first. I've thought about it too. Emperor Mo nodded. After that, he spoke with some worry in his voice. I'm afraid that there might be an ambush in the headquarters of the Thorn Hall. Although we've scouted the headquarters during this period of time, we only explored the outer perimeter. The Karplan has a master who is very good at scheming. I don't dare to make a move now. Luli thought about it and said, how about this? I will act on my own and be the main attacker. I will mess up the situation. Your main task is not to attack, but to collect information. Once they're in a mess, it will be easy for you to go and investigate. Luli, are you sure? Emperor Mo asked. Luli didn't explain. He disappeared and only showed up after the three warriors went around for a while. Luli said with a smile, now you can put your mind at ease. Nobody can find me as long as there are no perfect warriors. The Karp clan doesn't have a perfect warrior, right? I can come and go at will in any realm of the Karp clan. Okay. Emperor Mo's eyes glowed. Still, he said, Luli, you must be careful. We have lost a powerful warrior. You can't let anything happen to you. Okay. Luli nodded and said, for now, don't attack. Just collect information. Find out the situation of the Hall of Thorn first. After that, we will destroy the Hall of Thorn first and then deal with the Karp clan. The Red Dragon race will be the last to kill them. Okay. Emperor Mo and the other two warriors were holding back their anger. They were cheered up by Luli's words. They discussed many details. After half a day, Luli left by himself. Region of Dipper, region of perpetual peace. This was an important land of resources for the Karp race. This place was rich in a kind of elixir. This elixir was beneficial to souls during the Heaven's Tribulation. Therefore, the supply of the elixir could not meet the demand. This was one of the most important ways for the Karp race to earn celestial stones. Since this place was so important, it must be heavily protected. Two powerful warriors who were infinitely close to the perfect realm were stationed here. There were more than 100 Saint Emperors. The more than a dozen lands of resources were all protected with powerful runes. It would take several powerful warriors a long time to crack the runes. Some time ago, when the Karp clan declared war on the Karp clan, they were nervous. Now they could relax. One of the Karp clan's warriors was killed and the other was destroyed. There were 10 warriors of the Karp clan. It was said that one of them was at the Emperor realm. Therefore, the patriarchs here didn't mind. The Karp race had more than 20 warriors who were infinitely close to the perfect realm. With the Scarlet Dragon race and C.I. Tang working together, the Karp clan would die no matter how many warriors came. The Karp race had just ascended to the top position in the chaotic sky star fields. It was impossible for all the warriors to come, right? Did they not want their headquarters? There was a big city near the Perpetual Peace Lake. This city was only a few thousand miles away from the lake. The Perpetual Peace Lake was the most important place to cultivate the elixir. This city was built to protect the Perpetual Peace Lake. Lanterns were lit. The city was very lively. A banquet was being held in the largest manor in the city. One of the patriarchs here loved to be lively and often organized banquets. Report. A mournful voice rang out. Following that, a figure flew over from the west. His body was covered in blood as he directly rushed into the manor. He knelt in front of the two elders and shouted, "Elders, something has happened. The runes at the Perpetual Peace Lake were broken. All our elixirs were stolen. More than 3,000 soldiers and powerful warriors were killed." What? The two patriarchs stood up in anger. Without asking anything, they turned into a shooting star and flew towards the Perpetual Peace Lake. They crossed the distance of a few thousand miles in an instant. They scanned with their divine senses and found that many elixirs were taken. The lake was in a mess, and there were many corpses floating in the water. There was no one left alive. Dozens of castles were destroyed. The two patriarchs roared in anger. The environment here wasn't destroyed, but a batch of elixirs was taken. Many elixirs were destroyed. The Karp race suffered a great loss this time. Swish, 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 groups of soldiers and powerful warriors flew over from the Perpetual Peace City. There were more than 10,000 of them. One patriarch scanned with his divine senses and shouted, "Find this bastard even if you have to scrape the ground. Send the order to lock down the entire perpetual peace region. No matter who it is, I will make him pay." Chapter 3500. There were hundreds of thousands of troops stationed in Yangon realm. These hundreds of thousands of troops were mobilized to seal off the entire realm. At the same time, countless soldiers spread out to search for the martial artists who attacked. According to the Saint Emperor who escaped, there was only one expert who attacked Yangon Lake. That expert moved like a ghost. He didn't even get a clear look before his soul was sealed. If it wasn't for his quick reaction and some defensive means of his soul, he probably wouldn't have been able to escape. An expert who moved like a ghost was very likely to be the leader of the Grim Reaper. The two supreme experts sent a message back to the Carp clan. If the leader of the Grim Reaper dared to cause trouble in Yangon realm, they would make him stay here forever. The two supreme experts didn't go after him. Instead, they waited here for news. Report. An hour later, a scout reported that there were traces found in a place. It was suspected to be the route that the expert fled. When the two supreme experts were about to go after him, another scout reported that there seemed to be a suspicious martial artist approaching a nearby resource land. The two supreme experts looked at each other and felt that something was wrong. Was the enemy trying to separate them on purpose? The two supreme experts thought about it and finally decided to split up to take a look. They each led dozens of Saint Emperors and hundreds of troops to chase after him. The two supreme experts were still very confident in their combat strength. At the very least, they could lead dozens of Saint Emperors and hundreds of troops to chase after him, right? The experts from the nearby realms of the Carp clan were rushing over here. They didn't need to kill the leader of the Grim Reaper. They just needed to hold him back. When the time came, the leader would definitely die on the spot. An elder followed the traces but found that the leader disappeared. He circled around the area and made sure that there was nothing else, so he returned to Yangon City. Before he returned to Yangon City, a group of soldiers flew over and shouted from afar, "Elder Yang, something happened." "Elder who was killed." "What?" The elder's expression changed drastically. He asked about what happened, and the group of soldiers told him the situation. Elder who had led a group of Saint Kings and soldiers to a nearby resource zone, but they were suddenly ambushed along the way, and the entire group was wiped out. By the time the soldiers from the nearby resource zones had arrived, there was not a single person left alive. "Let's go." Elder Yang thought about it and brought a group of experts back to Yangon City. He didn't even dare to go to the place where Elder who died. Not only that, the moment he entered the city, he immediately activated the Divine Inscriptions Array formation and ordered all the soldiers and scouts stationed outside to return to the city. Elder Yang was afraid. Elder Pot's battle prowess was about the same as his, but he was easily killed. The entire army was wiped out, and they did not even have the chance to send out a distress signal. If he dared to go out, he would definitely end up like Elder Hu. Therefore, he could only hide in the city and wait for the Carp clan's reinforcements. He waited anxiously in the city. After waiting for 2 days, the Carp clan's powerhouses finally came to help. They were 3 powerhouses who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm. Elder Yang brought the 3 experts to where Elder Hu had died in battle. They discovered that the battlefield was charred black. Elder Hu's corpse had been burnt to a crisp, while the other Saint Kings and soldiers had all been burnt to death as well. The Grim Reaper doesn't have any fire element powerhouses. The few powerhouses were all puzzled. They had investigated the Grim Reaper's information and had some understanding of the 9 magnates. There was no fire element powerhouse among them. With 4 powerhouses who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection Realm, Elder Yang's confidence was greatly boosted. He immediately mobilized the army to search everywhere. All the entrances and exits were sealed by the divine inscriptions. Therefore, Elder Yang concluded that the Grim Reaper should still be in Yangon region. The army searched for 7 or 8 days, but found nothing. At this time, a piece of news came which made this group of powerhouses furious. A realm near Yangon region was massacred. More than half of the hundreds of thousands of soldiers that were killed. All the divine liquid in a treasure land there was robbed. More than 30 sane emperors were killed. There was originally a powerhouse who was infinitely close to the great perfection realm there, but he was in Yangon region now. After the news spread, the entire Carp clan was in an uproar. The news also spread quickly. The Heavenly Dipper star field was bustling. This was clearly the Grim Reaper's revenge. They were happy to watch the battle between the Grim Reaper and the Carp clan. A ferocious dragon crossing the river. They wanted to see which was stronger, the dragon crossing the river or the local snake. The clan leader of the Carp race was enraged. He mobilized a large number of powerful warriors. At the same time, all the scouts of the CI clan and the Red Dragon race were mobilized. The Carp race also asked for help from several powerful tracking races and their allies to search for all the warriors of the Grim Reaper. The clan leader of the Carp race gave an order to capture every warrior they could find. Those who could not be captured were to be killed without mercy. As soon as the clan leader of the Carp race gave the order, hundreds of millions of warriors were mobilized to search for the Grim Reaper. As for the Grim Reaper, Emperor Mo and Lu Li had an agreement. For 3 months after Lu Li's attack, Emperor Mo and Lu Li would not take any actions because the Carp race would mobilize a large number of scouts. If Emperor Mo and Lu Li were to enter the Heavenly Dipper Star region, they would be discovered easily. Since Emperor Mo and Lu Li did not enter the Heavenly Dipper Star region, the Carp race could not find anything. Hundreds of millions of warriors were searching all over the world. All kinds of channels were used. Races that were on good terms with the Carp race were mobilized as well. However, they found nothing after more than a month. Lu Li was hiding in a small universe. It would be impossible for the Carp race to find him given his abilities. Lu Li lived comfortably in a small city for 2 months. He cultivated for 2 months as well, continuing to study the Traceless Way. He spent another 2 months, but he was still stuck at the last step. He could not make the Traceless Way succeed. He decided to go on. What he did at the Region of Peace was just an appetizer. In the next half a year, he would make the Carp race pay. He would make the entire race tremble in fear. He left the small city and wandered around the universe, controlled by the Carp race. Half a month later, Lu Li picked a universe to make his move. He easily entered the interface and came out after staying there for a few days. He killed a powerful warrior that was almost at the absolute realm in this universe, and more than half of the tens of thousands of warriors were slaughtered. This universe was a land of resources. Over half of a type of, or was dug out by Lu Li. The blood of the tens of thousands of warriors dyed the mine red. Half a day later, the Carp race received the news. The clan leader of the Carp race was enraged. He mobilized many warriors that were almost at the absolute realm to surround the universe that was under attack. Scouts and powerful warriors of the Red Dragon race and the Thorn clan swarmed over as well. Scouts from other races of the Tiangang galaxy were sent out as well. In a short time, millions of scouts were gathered here. So many powerful warriors and scouts were searching, but to no avail. A month later, news came from the main universe of the Carp race that a major city was under attack. More than 100,000 Carp race warriors were killed. A land of resources was looted and a patriarch was killed. The news shocked not only the Carp race, but the entire Tiangang galaxy as well. People were impressed by the assassination skills of the God of Death. So many powerful warriors and scouts were on the trail, but not a single trace of the God of Death could be found. However, the powerful warriors of the God of Death could enter different universes easily, carry out assassinations, and leave gracefully. No major race could stand this, let alone the Carp race. Chapter 35:01. After Lu Li made his move at the Carp race, he left the Carp race at once and went into hiding. He knew that going too far was as bad as not going far enough. He decided to keep a low profile for a while. While the Carp race was in chaos, he would wipe out the Society of Thorn. Emperor Mo had already gone to the Dipper universe to gather information. As far as they were concerned, Lu Li's assassination was legendary. The wind blew past without a trace, catching people off guard and coming and going as it pleased. It was as if he could kill whoever he wanted to. The entire territory of the carp race was his backyard. No warrior could find him. Emperor Mo took actions, focusing on the Society of Thorn. After several rounds, Emperor Mo and Lu Li contacted each other. They worked together and made a plan. Half a month later, Lu Li made another move. This time, he attacked the universe of the carp race. He left a message saying that he would attack the Eternal Night universe next time. The carp race mobilized powerful warriors to the Eternal Night universe, and many scouts were sent there as well. In the city of Eternal Night gathered more than a dozen powerful warriors who were close to the absolute perfection realm. They were waiting. Suddenly, a piece of news came. The powerful warriors of the carp race, the Red Dragon race, and the Society of Thorn were stunned. 3 powerful warriors who were close to the absolute perfection realm and more than a dozen Saint Emperors attacked the headquarters of the Society of Thorn and leveled it to the ground. A powerful warrior who was close to the absolute perfection realm and nearly 10,000 assassins were killed. The headquarters of the Society of Thorn that had been operating for tens of thousands of years was destroyed. The Society of Thorn had 3 powerful warriors who were close to the absolute perfection realm. 2 of them were here. When they heard the news, they trembled and almost fell from the sky. It didn't matter that the headquarters of the Society of Thorn was destroyed. It didn't matter that the more than 10,000 assassins were killed. It didn't matter even if that powerful warrior who was close to the absolute perfection realm was killed. What they could not accept was that there were many treasures in the headquarters of the Society of Thorn, such as the Library of Sutras, secret rooms that could assist in cultivation, the steel at the back of the mountain, some valuable places for training assassins, and endless resources. Those were the true roots of the Thorn Hall. Now they were all gone, destroyed. This time, the Thorn Hall had truly suffered a huge blow. Back out. After the 2 leaders calmed down, they discussed for a long time and made an announcement. C.I. Tang withdrew from the battle between the Death God and the Carp clan. From today onwards, C.I. Tang sealed himself in the mountain and would only come out after 1,000 years. It wasn't that the 2 leaders didn't want revenge, but they knew that when it came to assassinations, they were like dwarves and giants compared to the Grim Reaper. If they continued to play, what awaited them would be complete annihilation. There were hundreds of millions of scouts, and there were so many big clans. How long had they been tracking? At least half a year? Not only did they fail to find Lu Li, but Lu Li was assassinated right under their noses. What kind of disgusting concealment technique was this? Emperor Mo and the others didn't even have to do anything. Lu Li alone could destroy the Dace race. Assassins were very sensitive to danger. The 2 leaders knew that they couldn't continue playing. They couldn't beat the Grim Reaper. If they continued playing, the result would be tragic. While they still had a sliver of essence, chi left to recuperate for 1,000 years, the C.I. Tang would still have a chance to rise. The C.I. Tang retreated decisively. They had an emergency evacuation plan. As soon as the leader of the C.I. Tang gave the order, all the assassins and scouts of the C.I. Tang left. Not a single one was left. The Dace race tried their best to persuade them to stay. But this time, nothing worked. The Dace race offered a huge bargaining chip, but it didn't work either. As soon as the C.I. Tang left, the Grim Reaper sent a message through a chamber of commerce in the Tiangang galaxy. Any race that helped the Dace race will be targeted by the Grim Reaper. If they left now, the Grim Reaper would not pursue the matter. The Dace race had asked several tracking races to help with the search, and some of their allies were helping as well. The Grim Reaper's words meant that the major races should leave and the Dace race should be isolated. Only in this way could the Dace race be attacked. The Grim Reaper's words did work. 2 major races that were tracking the Dace race left at once. They couldn't find Lu Li after such a long time, which meant that they were not powerful enough to fight the Grim Reaper. If so, why should they risk being attacked by the Grim Reaper for some celestial stones? 2 major races left, but the other major races were not to be outdone. None of the Dace race's allies left. After all, they were allies. If they left so easily, the relationship of many years would be ruined, and the races of the Tiangang galaxy would look down on them. 2 months later, Lu Li set off again. This time, he didn't attack the dace race. Instead, he went to the stork race, an ally of the dace race. He didn't go too far. He just snuck into the main city of the stork race and took away 2 talented young masters of the race without anyone knowing. After taking them away, he placed the 2 young masters in another interface and left a note. If the stork race continued to help the dace race, it wouldn't be a warning next time. It would be an attack. The 2 young masters were direct descendants, and they were very talented. They were the focus of the race. Usually, they would be protected by several saint emperors at all times. More importantly, the 2 young masters went missing in the main city of the stork race. There were more than a dozen powerful warriors who were infinitely close to the absolute completion of the race. Lu kidnapped 2 young masters of the stork race right under the noses of more than a dozen powerful warriors who were infinitely close to the absolute completion of the race. None of the powerful warriors in the city noticed. What kind of heaven-defying divine ability was this? Only a warrior at the absolute completion of the race could do this. The stork race backed off at once. They had to. If Luli could kidnap them, then he could assassinate them as well. The next time Luli tried to assassinate them, many young masters and young ladies of their direct descendants would be killed. Was it worth it to lose their lives to help an ally? What happened to the stork race spread out. The other allies began to think about retreating as well. The prerequisite for helping others was not to get hurt. The god of death was too powerful. The dace race was doomed this time. It was not worth it to put their own race in danger for an ally like this. As the allies backed off, the other 2 tracking races panicked. Everyone had backed off. Were they going to risk their lives for the dace race for some celestial stones and resources? In the end, the remaining 2 pursuers also retreated. Now, only the dace race, the red dragon race, and 3 affiliated races were left. The dace race was doomed. That was what many races in the Tiangang galaxy felt. During this time, Luli had killed 3 patriarchs of the dace race. In total, the dace race had more than 20 powerful warriors that were infinitely close to the absolute completion of the race. They were killed by Luli one by one. When a number of powerful warriors of the dace race increased, the god of death wouldn't have to do anything. The other races that hated the dace race would swarm up and bite the dace race to death. Every major race had enemies because the rise of the major races was achieved by stepping on the bodies of others. If they wanted territory, they would have to take it from other races. If they wanted to keep their territory, they would have to defeat the other races. As time went on, the number of enemies would increase. One year, in a small universe, Luli was drinking in a tavern. Shaking the jar, he said, "Let's end the fight in a year. When the dace race is convinced, we can go and play with the red dragon race." Chapter 3502. Luli rested for over a month before he set out again. This time, he did not attack small universes. Instead, he focused on the warriors of the dace race that were close to the absolute completion realm. The dace race only had a limited number of powerful warriors. When he killed more than half of them, the dace race would not need him to attack them anymore. All the races in the Tiangang galaxy could come together and attack the dace race. After all, the dace race's territory was a huge benefit. Half a month later, Luli locked onto a universe where there was a warrior that was close to the absolute completion realm. Luli was not in a hurry to attack. Instead, he wandered around to see if there were any powerful warriors in hiding. He used a trace of Tao to check. He believed that the dace race might have some tricks up their sleeves. If he could not be found, then he would have to lure him into a trap. Luli wandered around in a valley and then snuck into the valley. This valley was a mine. The warrior that was close to the absolute completion realm was guarding here. Luli walked around the valley, but did not find any powerful warriors in hiding. There is only one warrior that was close to the absolute completion realm and over 20 Saint Kings. Wait, Luli suddenly noticed something. There was a castle that was guarded by 3 Saint Kings, and the castle had activated the divine pattern. Even though he did not sense any powerful warriors, Luli decided to be careful. He went closer to the castle to have a look. He sensed there was a teleportation altar inside. Clearly, it was an advanced one that had just been built. Luli chuckled. He asked Blood Fairy to sneak into the castle and destroy the teleportation altar. A moment later, Blood Fairy came back. Luli began his attack as well. He snuck into the largest castle, which was guarded by many warriors. There was a sentry every few steps. But for Luli, the sentry only existed in name. He entered the innermost part of the castle where an old man was lying on a bed. Several maids were massaging his shoulders and legs. Luli used the Traceless Way and swaggered in. He was one step away from mastering the Traceless Way. This old man could not sense it. Luli was standing right next to him, and yet he could not sense anything. Luli looked at the maids with a frown. If he had used his flames, the old man would have been burned to death in an instant. These maids were very weak and were considered commoners. Once the flames were released, they would definitely be burned to death. This was indiscriminately killing the innocent. Luli thought about it. He poured out several drops of super destructive energy from the Dharma realm. Luli waved his hand and shot out several drops of destructive energy at the warrior's chest and head. After Luli's attack, Luli revealed himself. That powerful warrior came to his senses at once. However, at such a distance, how could this supreme expert dodge it? A few drops of divine liquid of destruction immediately entered the expert's body, causing him to roll around in pain. The maids were all sent flying. That powerful warrior stared at Luli. He took out a jade talisman and crushed it. Grinning hideously, he said, "Wait for your death. Powerful warriors of the Dace race will be here soon." "Are you talking about that teleportation altar?" Luli sneered and said, "Sorry, I've already destroyed it for you." The powerful warrior was in despair. The super destructive energy was corroding his body. He knew he could not survive. He could only hope that the powerful warriors of the Dace race would arrive and kill Luli to avenge him. If the teleportation altar was destroyed, then he, the bait, would have died in vain. Whoosh. Before he died, he tried to launch a desperate attack. Unfortunately, Luli had already gone into hiding. The attack collapsed the entire palace. The maid screamed in terror and ran out. Many warriors swarmed in from the outside. Bang, 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 bang. Luli dashed out like a ghost. He did not use any powerful attacks, only his body. Basically, he would kill one warrior with one punch. Every time he punched, a warrior would be smashed to death. Not even a warrior at the later stage of Saint King could survive. Luli went around the valley. All the Saint Kings were dead, and he killed more than half of the warriors as well. The remaining ones had fled in fear. Luli took his time to search the valley. He took away many ores before he snuck out of this place. The Dace race received the news. The more than a dozen powerful warriors that were ready went to the teleportation altar at once. However, when they went in, they realized that the altar was useless. The other side of the altar had been destroyed. The powerful warriors of the Dace race were vexed. Since the altar had been destroyed, the patriarchs that served as bait must have been doomed. As expected, an hour later, the news spread out. The powerful warriors were killed. All the Saint Kings were killed. More than half of the warriors were killed. The soldiers and Saint Emperors didn't matter, but the elders were one less. The experts in Carp City all had ugly expressions. If this continued, they would all be killed one by one. The Carp clan would also be finished. "We cannot separate anymore," the clan leader of the Dace race said. If they separated again, Luli would have the chance to defeat them one by one. As long as they stayed together, Luli would have no chance. But here was the problem. They did not have many powerful warriors. If they stayed together, how could they track down Luli? Thinking of this, the Carp clan felt melancholy. The Grim Reaper hadn't launched a large-scale invasion. Only a giant had come. This giant had an unfathomable concealment technique. Even billions of martial artists couldn't find him. So how could they kill him? Luli could assassinate their warriors and powerful warriors. Sooner or later, the Dace race will be wiped out. The reputation of the Dace race had been weakened recently. Many of their enemies were eyeing them with covetous eyes. Even though they had not taken actions yet, if they could not kill Luli at this rate, Their enemies would come together sooner or later. In addition to their enemies, there were many other major races that coveted the Dace race's territory. They might take actions upon hearing the news. Clan leader. A patriarch said after some thoughts, I think we can ask a powerful warrior to do it. He should be able to track down the god of death. Who? The clan leader of the Dace race was excited. The other patriarchs turned to him as well. That patriarch pointed to the northwest and said, Mr. Wu from the Dark Clouds realm. Mr. Wu? The clan leader of the Dace race and the other powerful warriors were stunned. A patriarch soon shook his head and said, Mr. Wu is half a step away from the consummate realm. His utilization of force in heaven and earth has reached the acme of perfection. He also has many detection skills, but I don't think we can ask him to come. Mr. Wu was a famous warrior in the Dipper Star region. He was recognized as the most powerful warrior below the consummate realm. He had been famous for many years. It was said that he could reach the consummate realm in 100 years. Mr. Wu had many tricks up his sleeves. Once, a major race offended him and the race was wiped out. 4 or 5 powerful warriors that were close to the consummate realm fled. Some of them fled into secret areas. However, he found them one by one and killed them all. None of them could escape. Don't mess with Mr. Wu. Otherwise, you'll be hunted down no matter where you go. This was a rumor among the people of the Dipper Star region. It was proof of Mr. Wu's strength and tracking abilities. Brother Chi, go and ask him in person. Whatever it takes, we must get Mr. Wu to come. The clan leader of the Dace race waved his hand and said, As long as Mr. Wu can kill the god of death, I don't care if we have to go bankrupt. Wealth can be earned again. If we cannot kill the god of death, the Dace race will be doomed. Chapter 35:03. In the next 3 months, Luli made 4 moves in a row, but he didn't kill any powerful warriors that were close to the perfect realm. The Dace race had learned their lesson. All the powerful warriors that were close to the perfect realm were grouped in groups of 4 or 5. Luli was not sure that he could kill so many powerful warriors at once, so he could not take the risk. If he were to be hit by warriors of this level, then he would be doomed as well. Emperor Mo and the others didn't do anything because Luli didn't tell them to. Now, Emperor Mo trusted Luli. At the very least, in terms of assassination, Emperor Mo and the others admitted defeat. Therefore, Luli became the overall commander here. They would stay hidden until Luli gave the order. Another 2 months passed, and Luli made 3 more moves. This time, he targeted the Red Dragon race and the 2 affiliated races of the Carp race. Luli killed a powerful warrior of the Red Dragon race that was infinitely close to the consummate realm and dozens of Saint Kings. As for the other 2 affiliated races, he killed their family patriarch and dozens of Saint Kings of the other. Arrogant, presumptuous, and insufferably arrogant. That was the feeling Luli gave to many warriors of the Tiangang galaxy. The Dace race was humiliated and humiliated. At this rate, many major races would take action and join forces to wipe out the Dace race. Recently, some major races have been secretly discussing and colluding to plot against the Dace race. Today, a huge teleportation altar in the main city of the Dace race glowed. A distinguished guest had come to the Dace race. It was a skinny old man with triangular eyes, a long nose, and long ears. But his hands were short, which was quite strange. Patriarch Wu, the clan leader of the Dace race, led a team to welcome the guest in person. He was very polite and respectful. Even though he was the leader of the race, he had to show respect to this old man. Patriarch Wu nodded with pride. The clan leader of the Dace race led the other powerful warriors to welcome him in. After some small talk, the clan leader of the Dace race got down to business. Patriarch Wu stated his conditions bluntly, and they were outrageous. Not only did he ask for many rare materials, he also made some outrageous demands. For example, in the future, the Dace race must help Patriarch Wu unconditionally. For example, a young lady of the Dace race must marry a great-grandson of Patriarch Wu. Normally, the Dace race would not agree. But now, there was no other way. The clan leader of the Carp clan swallowed his anger. only rejecting one of the conditions and accepting the rest. After resting for a day, old Demon Wu inquired about a lot of information and then quietly left. The carp race asked Wu what kind of support he needed. Wu waved his hand, indicating that nothing was needed. He could kill Lu Li easily. When he came back with Lu Li's head, the Dace race must fulfill their promise. The carp tribe had gathered a large number of scouts, not to help old Demon Wu, but to monitor the situation in real time. What if Lu Li ran away after being wounded by the Wu demon? They could also react immediately. Lu Li was still wandering around the universes controlled by the Dang race, looking for a good chance to strike. The universe of Perpetual Night was the one Lu Li mentioned he was going to attack. This one was more important than the realm of Perpetual Peace. The realm of Perpetual Night was rich in a type of rare material. It was one of the most important resources of the Dang race, ranking in the top 5. Originally, there were 3 powerhouses who were infinitely close to the Great Perfection realm guarding this place. During this period of time, the number of powerhouses guarding this place had increased to 5. Divine glyphs had been activated in many places. All the armies had retreated. There were almost no Dang race armies outside. Lu Li wandered around the universe alone, thinking about how to lure out the most powerful warriors in the city of Perpetual Night and kill them separately. He was not sure that he could kill 5 powerful warriors. If he were to force his way out, there was a 90% chance that he would be killed. The destruction of the Dang race was a done deal. It would just take some time. Naturally, Lu Li would not take the risk. Let me take a rest. Several days later, Lu Li found a cave to rest in. Inside the cave, he went directly to the realm of Dharma. Nothing was safer than the realm of Dharma. If he wanted to rest, it would be safer in the realm of Dharma. Lu Li slept for 2 days in the realm of Dharma and sat in meditation for 4 or 5 days. It was a pity that he could not master the traceless Tao. He used the trace of Tao to sense the outside and came out. Wait, as soon as he came out, he felt goosebumps all over his body. He sensed a fatal danger in his soul. Without any hesitation, Lu Li dashed into the realm of Dharma again. As soon as he went in, the entire cave lit up. Then, snakes of fire crawled up and intertwined in the cave, forming a cage of divine glyphs. Buzzing, a skinny man appeared outside the cage. It was Wu. He sensed with a frown and said in surprise, Gone? How is that possible? Lu Li was taken aback as well. He used a trace of Tao to sense the situation outside. There was a cage and a powerful warrior who was infinitely close to the consummate realm. Lu Li stopped after a while. He murmured in surprise, Who is this old demon? How can he track me here? I have been in the realm of Dharma. How can he track me down? The world was full of strange things. If there was the traceless Tao, then there must be other ways that could restrain the traceless Tao. Therefore, Lu Li did not doubt that a powerful warrior could track him down. What surprised him was that he had lost contact with the outside world after he entered the realm of Dharma. There was no trace of him outside. How could this old man track him all the way here? Even if he did, how could he be so sure that Lu Li would be in the cave if he could not find him? Logically speaking, if he could not find Lu Li here, he would search nearby. He wouldn't stay in the cave to set up divine glyphs. Lu Li was afraid of this old man. He dared not to act blindly without thinking. He had to observe the situation first. Strange. Wu wandered around outside the cage. After a moment, he poured out some Xian energy, and the cage was deactivated. Then, he continued to attack. The entire cave was blasted into pieces. Even the hill the cave was sitting on disappeared. The divine glyphs he had set up were not attacked, so they were still there. Buzzing, he poured out more Xian energy, and the cage glowed again. Old Demon Wu circled around the cage with a confused look on his face. He sighed and said, This doesn't make sense. It should be here. How did this brat hide? Whoosh. 5 powerful warriors came from the distance. They were the 5 most powerful warriors of the realm of Eternal Night. They could not help but come over to take a look. A patriarch of the carp race saw that Wu had set up a divine glyphs to lock up a space, but there was nothing inside. The patriarch cupped his fists and asked curiously, Patriarch Wu, what are you doing? That Grim Reaper is in there. Old Demon Wu said faintly. He then added, he should be hiding in the Jimmy space. However, I've locked him down, so he can't escape. Chapter 3504. Hiding in the space between spaces. The five elders were startled. There were many martial artists who possessed some special, supernatural abilities and hid in the cracks of space. This was very normal. However, when attacking, space could easily be torn apart. If they were shaken out, it would be very awkward and dangerous. Old Demon Wu's name shook the world, and the five elders did not have too many doubts. One of the elders took out a sword, and the sword flew into the air. The sword vibrated in the air, and in an instant, it turned into tens of thousands of swords. The swords charged into the sealed space and pierced through it. Rip, space was torn apart piece by piece. The sealed space was completely torn apart. It was like a broken mirror, full of cracks. The tens of thousands of swords flew out and back, tearing the space inside again and again. Slowly, the space closed again and again. The space had been torn so badly, but nothing had come out of it. The other elders of the Carp clan all frowned. Another elder thought about it and took out a small bell. The little bell flew in and began to sway inside. Dong, 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 the dull sound of the bell rang out, and ripples appeared around the small bell. The sound of the bell was ear-piercing, and it felt as though it could shake the souls of the experts present. This bell was a treasure. If it rang near a martial artist, the martial artist's source chi would be shaken to the point of being disrupted. If there were indeed warriors hiding in the void, they would definitely be shaken out. Dong, 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 the bell rang for a long time, but there was no movement inside. The five elders looked at each other, their eyes filled with bewilderment. If there was a warrior hiding in there, it must be a perfected one. If the Grim Reaper had perfected ones, they wouldn't be able to do anything. The Grim Reaper's perfected ones would have killed their way to Carp City and uprooted them. They looked at Old Demon Wu, and one of the elders asked, Old Demon Wu, there's nothing in there. Old Demon Wu's face was cold. He said in a deep voice, the Grim Reaper is definitely in there. There's no doubt about that. I just don't know how to find him, and I can't figure out how he's hiding. Old Demon Wu was so sure. The five elders were puzzled. Old Demon Wu was famous in the world, and he was a master in tracking. If he was so sure, he couldn't be wrong. Then what was the problem? Did the Grim Reaper really have a disgusting concealment ability? Swish, swish. The elder once again shot out his sword. The other warrior also released an attack, directly shaking the space. The sealed space was suddenly bombarded repeatedly, and a large hole was torn in the space. After 5 minutes, there wasn't even a mosquito in there. Old Demon Wu didn't do anything. He frowned, and when the two warriors stopped, he waved his hand. Stop. You won't be able to get out like this. The five elders didn't really believe him, but they didn't ask. They didn't want to hurt Old Demon Wu's pride. Old Devil Wu didn't bother about these five elders. He started to inscribe divine inscriptions. The divine inscriptions he inscribed were extremely complicated and profound. One could tell with a single glance that they were extremely powerful. Qin Wentian took a total of 6 hours to set up this divine imprint before he finally succeeded. He channeled a few streams of origin energy into the divine imprint array, activating it. Streams of black fog rose up, enveloping the entire space within. It took him more than 6 hours to finish. He shot out a few strands of origin energy, and the rune array was activated. Black fog rose up and covered the space inside. The venomous snakes formed from black mist exuded a terrifying aura that was extremely stifling. Old Wu, what kind of array is this? An elder asked curiously. Old Demon Wu pondered for a moment and explained, this is called the heart-devouring bone-eroding array. If you were inside, you would be gnawed to the bones in less than 5 minutes. This array is all-pervasive. If there are martial artists hiding inside, they would definitely be attacked. All the experts immediately released their divine will to sense it carefully. Unfortunately, the divine inscription had been released for more than 2 hours, but there was no sign of life within it. They didn't feel anything strange. The expressions of the 5 elders turned awkward. They felt that old demon Wu had made a mistake. Or was he playing with them like monkeys? That shouldn't be the case. Old demon Wu rubbed his chin. His eyes flashed, and he didn't care about anything else. He sat down cross-legged and fell into deep thought. The 5 elders looked at each other. After some thought, they also sat down cross-legged. As a matter of fact, they wanted to leave. They felt it was a waste of time to stay here. But if they left like this, they would offend old demon Wu. Therefore, they had to stay here awkwardly. Luli sensed it once and didn't move again. He knew that if he kept using the trace of Tao, he would be sensed by the powerful warriors outside. Therefore, he decided to wait patiently for half a year. After all, it was safe in the realm of Dharma. The old demon outside couldn't go in and hunt him down. Luli was wondering who the old demon outside was and how he could find him in the realm of Dharma. What kind of heaven-defying divine ability was this? If he couldn't kill this powerful warrior, would he be safe anywhere else? Would this powerful warrior be able to track him no matter where he went? One look and Luli could tell that this powerful warrior was not from the carp race. None of the allies of the carp race and the powerful warriors they hired before had this kind of appearance. It could only mean that this powerful warrior was hired later. Judging by his momentum, this powerful warrior was very close to a warrior at the consummate realm. He must be the most powerful warrior below the consummate realm. Let's wait for a while. Luli didn't care anymore. He sat in the realm of Dharma with his legs crossed and began to study the traceless saber. Safety first. He should cultivate for a while. Maybe he could master the traceless saber. By then, this powerful warrior wouldn't be able to track him down. Luli stayed in the realm of Dharma, and neither did old demon Wu. They had been guarding here. News was sent back to the carp race. They were confused. What was old demon Wu doing? There was clearly nothing in that sealed space. What was he doing standing guard here all this time? Several other patriarchs of the carp race teleported over. They tried to attack, but found nothing as well. The patriarchs of the carp race didn't care anymore. Since Luli had chosen old demon Wu, they would trust him. Luli didn't appear anywhere else, so the realm of Dharma was not under attack. Soon, 3 months had passed. Luli didn't show up. The clan leader of the carp race was starting to believe him. Maybe Luli was trapped here? The clan leader of the carp race teleported over. He tried in person, but to no avail. Old demon Wu was puzzled. He had been sitting here with his legs crossed and never opened his eyes. Nobody knew what was on his mind. He touched the 2 pieces of animal bones which were engraved with strange runes. At the moment, the bones were glowing. Luli couldn't tell what they were for. Another 2 months later, Luli came out from cultivation. He hadn't mastered the traceless saber yet. He could not help but use the trace of great Tao to check. When he sensed some powerful qi and energy outside, he stopped. Buzzing, the animal bone in old demon Wu's hand glowed. He opened his eyes as well. He grinned coldly and said, "He is in there. You want to get out? You wish." Therefore, Emperor Mo and the others were not so worried. Many large clans in the entire heavenly Dipper star field were also very curious, especially those who were preparing to attack the carp race. The leader of the Grim Reaper hadn't made a move for a long time. Could it be that he had been killed? If he had been killed, the Carp clan would have made an announcement. Scouts from many major clans began to gather information. Soon, they located the Eternal Night universe through various channels. The patriarchs of the Carp race were not at the city of Eternal Night. Instead, they were in a wilderness. Something must be wrong. Some top-level scouts were sent out, but many were captured by the Carp race. The news inevitably spread. Old Demon Wu was in the Eternal Night realm, while Old Demon Wu and several elders of the Carp clan were in a wasteland. They had even set up an enchantment over there. Black fog surged within the enchantment, and it was suspected that the Grim Reaper was sealed within. When the clan leader of the Carp race learned that Old Devil Wu was sure that Luli was in there, he sent out a message. That leader of the Grim Reaper was sealed in there and would kill him in a few days. The Carp race invited their ally, the second patriarch of the carp race, to pour powerful flames into the seal. The flames were horrifying, and the temperature was so high that people could feel it from thousands of miles away. When the news spread out, Emperor Mo and the others found out soon. The three leaders gathered together in a panic. Luli was of vital importance to the Grim Reaper. Luli had powerful means, and his relationship with Lu Xiaobai alone. If Luli died, then Lu Xiaobai would not take care of the Grim Reaper anymore. He would take the Lu family away by force. Without the support of the king of the East region, could the Grim Reaper keep his position as one of the 12 masters? No, we must go and save Lu Li. How? Kill our way there? I think there are at least a dozen powerful warriors who are infinitely close to the consummate realm waiting for us. We can't force our way there. We can attack the carp race and lure their powerful warriors back. That will relieve some pressure on Lu Li. How about we send the news back and ask them to go to the immortal region to get young Master Bai? When the news is sent back, we can go to the immortal region and wait for young Master Bai. This will take at least 3 or 4 years. By then, Lu Li's body will have turned into ashes. Then we have to attack the carp race. After some discussion, the three leaders finally decided to attack the carp race to at least relieve some pressure on Lu Li. The three leaders themselves were superb assassins. They sneaked over quickly and arrived at the carp race in half a month. As expected, there were not many powerful warriors in the carp race. The carp race leader had gone to the world of eternal night in person. Only 5 patriarchs were left to guard here. The 3 top assassins struck at the carp race at the same time and turned the world upside down. They snuck into 3 major cities of the carp race and carried out crazy assassinations in the cities. The 3 leaders had walked out of mountains of corpses and seas of blood. They killed without blinking an eye and without mercy. The 3 of them were also taking revenge. The 3 cities were turned into hell. In just an hour, blood flowed like a river in the cities. Hundreds of thousands of warriors were killed. The 3 leaders left immediately after the assassination. They left the carp realm and went to a nearby realm. They stayed there for a few hours, slaughtered 3 more cities, and then left. When the powerful warriors of the carp race got the news, they teleported back. The 5 patriarchs in the carp city did not dare to move. They guarded the city, afraid that the 3 leaders would come back and destroy the city. By the time the powerful warriors of the carp race came back, the 3 leaders had gone. The carp race leader searched for a while with other powerful warriors, but found nothing. He was furious. The carp race leader went back to the world of eternal night. The other patriarchs continued the search with scouts and armies. Unfortunately, the 3 leaders had snuck into a region of a super race. How could the others find them? On the other side, the powerful warriors of the carp race had been pouring flames into the seal. The inside of the seal was filled with flames, horrifying flames. The temperature inside was so high that even the space was twisted. If there were warriors hiding in there, they would have come out a long time ago. 3 months. The powerful warrior had been refining the seal with flames for 3 months. Still, nothing happened. The flames were so horrifying that even the Wu demon would have been burned into ashes by now. Chapter 3506. I don't think there are any warriors in there, unless they are at the consummate realm. Second Patriarch, an ally of the carp race, stopped pouring flames in. They had been burning for 3 months without any reaction. Second Patriarch didn't believe that there were powerful warriors in there, unless they were at the consummate realm. If they were, they would have come out and killed them. Patriarchs of the carp race were wondering if Wu Asmodean had made a mistake. Or was old demon Wu just casually finding an excuse to settle things? Clan leader of the carp race was hesitating as well. He asked, Patriarch Wu, is the Grim Reaper really in there? He had said that the Grim Reaper was sealed in there. If Lu Li was not in there, then the carp race would become the laughingstock of the entire Dipper universe. Emperor Imo had made a move. People were gossiping. If Lu Li was not in there, then the rumors would spread across the entire Dipper universe. Wu Asmodean glared at them and said, If you don't believe me, I will leave right now. Go away, all of you. Don't be an eyesore here. I will find a way to kill him for you. Wu Asmodean had a strange temperament. He didn't show any respect to the clan leader of the carp race and told him to leave. The powerful warriors of the carp race were enraged. Clan leader of the carp race waved his hand to calm them down and said, "Okay, then we will leave. Patriarch Wu, if you can kill the Grim Reaper, we will honor our terms." With that said, clan leader of the carp race left with the patriarchs of the carp race. Some patriarchs wanted to stay and observe, but they all left after seeing clan leader's expression. Wu Asmodean ignored the powerful warriors of the carp race. He sat outside the cage, trying to figure out a way to find Lu Li, and if he could kill Lu Li. Lu Li was having a headache inside. He had sensed that there were many powerful warriors outside. He would be doomed if he went out. Would he have to stay here for the rest of his life? After a few days of headache, Lu Li had to continue to study the traceless way and strengthen his body and soul. He could not go out, so he had to cultivate. While Lu Li was studying the traceless path, the entire Dharma realm underwent another subtle change. The source of energy was flowing, and so was the tripod. The entire Dharma realm seemed to be resonating with Lu Li. There was an enigmatic aura flowing around, which was quite miraculous. Time flew by. Another couple of months had passed. Normally, Lu Li should have stopped cultivating after a couple of months. But this time he did not. The traceless blade in his hand was frighteningly bright, and a mysterious flow of air flowed around it. The cauldron not far away also spun more and more cheerfully, and the origin power squirmed faster. The entire Dharma realm seemed to be immersed in a cheerful atmosphere. Lu Li's figure was still flickering. One moment, he would appear, and the next moment, he would disappear completely. There was almost no interval in between. It was strange. Usually, it would take some time for the effect to appear and disappear. However, Lu Li didn't have any time for that. Another month later, Lu Li's body began to glow. At that moment, something miraculous happened. The origin energy in the realm of Dharma was spreading out to the entire realm of Dharma. All the origin energy was gone. The origin energy condensed into something like chains in the air. They intertwined with each other, forming a huge cage that imprisoned the entire realm of magic. To put it more precisely, the origin energy formed a skeleton that supported the entire realm of magic. Previously, the realm of magic was like a piece of soft meat without bones. Now, the chains were like the skeleton of the realm of magic, supporting the realm of magic. The realm of magic was more stable. Strands of laws of nature were flowing in the realm of magic. Lu Li was no longer invisible. He was glowing as if he had become a Buddha. That cauldron flew above his head and spun around. The glow coming from Lu Li and the glow from the cauldron intertwined, reflecting each other's brilliance. An hour later, the chains in the air were more stable. They seemed to have become tangible. If Lu Li could sense what was going on outside, he would see that the chains were the same as the traces of the Great Path. There were more than 3,000 of them, and they were arranged in the same way. It was a complete replica of the traces of the Great Path. 6 hours later, the traces of the Great Path were disappearing. They did not disperse, but vanished completely. The origin energy that gathered in the realm of magic was gone. The disappearance of the chains meant that the origin energy was gone. What was different was that the realm of magic was more stable. The realm of magic was filled with laws of nature, clear and distinct. Lu Li's body was still glowing, but the traceless saber had become transparent. Lu Li's body was changing again. His head became transparent and gradually disappeared. Lu Li became a headless body, and then his body disappeared as well. In the end, his body was gone. Buzzing. Right at that moment, the tripod above Lu Li's head flew into Lu Li's body and into his abdomen. It floated above the pellet. The tripod became smaller as well, the size of soybean. 2 hours later, Lu Li's body came out again. He had returned to normal. The traceless saber in his hand had returned to its original shape. The entire realm of magic returned to its original state. What was different was that the origin energy was gone, and so was the tripod. Lu Li opened his eyes slowly and exhaled. His eyes were filled with joy. He grinned and said, "Finally, I have mastered the traceless way. The traceless way is really marvelous. With this way, I can go anywhere in the world. I don't think any warrior at the absolute peak can kill me." Ha ha ha. He had mastered the traceless way. 2 or 3 years ago, he was only one step away. It took him such a long time. He looked at the traceless saber in his hand. At this moment, he finally felt that the saber had become one with him. He could control it completely. I will go out and try it out. Since the realm of magic was not stable, Luli dared not to take any risks. He put the traceless saber into his interspatial ring and stood up to take a casual look. Soon he was stunned. He looked to the center of the realm of magic and then to the top of his head. He was stunned again. Where is the origin energy? The tripod? Luli was taken aback. He had been cultivating for so many years and had accumulated a lot of origin energy. Now all was gone? More importantly, that tripod was a supreme divine weapon. How could it be gone just like that? Luli used psychic power to check. However, the realm of magic was small. He could not find the origin energy or the tripod after a quick scan. After a moment, he checked himself. Soon, he jumped up in fright. The tripod was in his abdomen and the tripod had a spiritual connection with him. How? He had taken control of a supreme divine weapon without leaving a trace. A supreme divine weapon could not be controlled by regular means. Only by studying the Tao in the supreme divine weapon could one be able to do so. He did not study the Tao in the tripod. How could he have taken control of it? Buzzing. He used his mind, and the tripod flew out in a blur. He took it in his hand. He could clearly feel that he had a spiritual connection with the tripod, and he could use it easily. Also, he had the traceless saber and the traceless way. How could he have taken control of two supreme divine weapons so easily? Chapter 35:07. Why is this happening? Luli could not figure it out. He also felt that the entire realm of Dharma was changing. But when he tried to check, he could not tell what was going on. He took a closer look and realized that the realm of Dharma seemed to be more stable. There were traces of laws of nature in many places in the realm of Dharma. The realm of Dharma has evolved. Luli frowned. He did not understand why this was happening. But no doubt this was a good thing. The evolution of the realm of Dharma was a good thing. The traceless saber and the tripod being taken control was also a good thing. This was 3 pieces of good news. No, there was also the traceless path. This was 4 pieces of good news. Luli had been sitting with his legs crossed for more than 2 hours. He had been investigating and thinking for more than 2 hours. Still, he could not figure out why the realm of Dharma access would change like this. He could not understand why the tripod would be taking control. The tripod was so strange. Never mind. Since it was good news, Luli began to think about what was happening outside. He had learned the traceless path. That powerful warrior outside should not be able to find him. If he could crack the cage outside, it would be a piece of cake for him to leave. He used the trace of Tao to check. The flames outside had disappeared. The formation of flesh and bone erosion was still there. It was not activated, but that powerful warrior could activate it at any time. Blood Fairy could crack the formation. But if she were to go out, she would be discovered by the old asshole immediately. By then, Blood Fairy could be killed. The old asshole had been guarding outside. He must be sure that Luli was in here. The old asshole had a strange ability that could locate Luli's specific location. He could even sense Luli when he was in the void. 2 hours later, Luli decided to go out and take the risk. He could always come back in. Could this powerful warrior kill him in an instant? Luli wanted to go out and have a try, mainly to test the power of the traceless path and the tripod. He cultivated for a couple of days, gathered some source energy, and was ready to take action. He released the God Dragon transformation and then the traceless Tao. In a flash, he was out. As soon as he was out, he threw the tripod at the old man through the cage without any hesitation. The tripod was connected to Luli spiritually. Therefore, Luli could use the fundamental principle in the tripod. The cauldron only contains a single law, the Tao of suppression. The cauldron quickly flew out of the cage and arrived above old Devil Lau's head. Almost at the same time, the traceless saber appeared in Lu Li's hand. He activated the fundamental principle contained in the traceless saber and hacked at it. Rip! The moment the traceless saber slashed out, the long saber disappeared. In the next second, it appeared in front of old Demon Wu. Also, Lu Li could sense the saber, but Wu Asmodean could not. He couldn't even see it. Yet, the saber was moving towards Wu Asmodean. Traceless, and invisible. This was the Tao of the traceless Tao, and it was also the most monstrous aspect of the traceless Tao. Even the attack would be traceless. The enemy could only sense danger, but they wouldn't be able to detect the attack, nor would they be able to capture the traces of the attack. This was the most abnormal aspect of the traceless Tao. Old Devil Wu felt a fatal sense of danger. His attention was originally on the cauldron, but suddenly he felt a fatal sense of danger. He had to leave the cauldron alone. His reaction was fast. Yellow airflow condensed in his hand, and in an instant a shield was formed in front of his chest. Boom! The traceless saber hacked at the shield. The shield cracked, and a huge force came through. Old Devil Wu was about to be knocked away. The cauldron above him suddenly enlarged. Then, the black airflow poured down and enveloped Old Devil Wu. He was suppressed. Old Devil Wu was forced to kneel on the ground. He tried hard to move, but he couldn't. Lu Li's eyes glowed. He reappeared, and once again, he hacked at the traceless saber. This time, it was also silent. The saber disappeared from Lu Li's hand, and in the next second, it appeared in front of Old Devil Wu. Boom! Old Devil Wu couldn't move his body, and his source of energy was messed up. All he could do was take out a shield to defend himself, but the shield was broken. The traceless saber landed on Old Devil Wu. Old Devil Wu revealed his armor, which withstood Lu Li's move. Aha! Lu Li laughed. After the attack, the saber disappeared and returned to Lu Li's hand. Lu Li continued to hack at Old Devil Wu. This time, Old Devil Wu didn't have a shield, so he had to rely on his armor. The armor couldn't stand it any longer. This blow shattered the armor. Blood gushed out from Old Devil Wu's back. It's over. Old Devil Wu's heart sank. The cauldron contained the fundamental principles of a supreme warrior. Even though he was only half a step away from the consummate realm, this half a step was like heaven and earth. The fundamental principles of a warrior at the consummate realm were too strong for him to resist. Lu Li had two supreme divine weapons in his hands. Lu Li's attacks were not particularly strong, but the supreme divine weapon was. If Lu Li continued to attack, Old Devil Wu would die a miserable death. Old Devil Wu rolled his eyes. He took out a token and crushed it. This was a token given to him by the carp race. If he crushed it, the carp race would definitely notice and send powerful warriors to investigate. Bang! The traceless saber continued to hack at Old Devil Wu. Old Devil Wu had no choice but to take out many treasures to block the traceless saber's attacks. He had to wait for the rescue of the patriarchs of the carp race. There were 5 patriarchs guarding the city of Eternal Night. This place was not far from the city of Eternal Night. As long as he could hold on for the time for a couple of incense sticks to burn, the 5 patriarchs would arrive. Boom, 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 boom. Old Devil Wu's treasures were smashed one by one. His injuries were getting worse and worse. He was in more and more despair. He knew he couldn't wait any longer. Before the patriarchs of the carp race arrived, he would die here. He wanted to use his origin energy to activate the heart and bone erosion formation. Unfortunately, he was being suppressed and his injuries were serious. More importantly, his origin energy was in a mess. It was hard for him to use it. Also, to activate the formation, he had to activate several patterns. Lu Li was attacking continuously. Old Devil Wu had to defend and take out his treasures at the same time. How could he activate the patterns accurately? Boom, boom, boom. After dozens of attacks, Old Devil Wu was covered in wounds. He was on the verge of death. He clenched his teeth and shouted, "Stop! I surrender. As long as you don't kill me, you can name whatever you want." Luli kept a straight face and said nothing. What was there to talk about? If he could not kill this old devil Wu, he could not get out. He would not fall for the trap. There are no powerful warriors nearby. What if the carp race sent reinforcements? Therefore, Luli would not allow himself to be delayed. The sooner he could kill this powerful warrior, the sooner he could get out. On the other side, Luli told Blood Fairy to crack the formation as soon as possible so that they could leave this troublesome place. I am Mount Dark Flag of the Dark Clouds universe. Anything is negotiable as long as you don't kill me. I can give you the wealth I have accumulated over the years. I can also help you wipe out the carp race. I can serve you for 100 years, no, 10,000 years, as long as you don't kill me. Old Devil Wu shouted. Unfortunately, Luli paid no attention to him and kept attacking. After dozens of attacks, Old Devil Wu finally could not stand it anymore. His body was torn apart by the strength of the traceless sword. Old Devil Wu dead. Chapter 3508. Phew. Luli was relieved after Wu was killed. This old man was freakish. He could track Luli down even when he was in the realm of magic. If Luli could not kill this old man, he would not be safe anywhere else. With the old man dead, the formation would be easier to crack. Blood Fairy was working hard. Luli put away the Gong Huang Ding and didn't go back to the realm of magic. He sat in there with his legs crossed and released the traceless way. He sent scouts nearby. Powerful warriors of the Dace race would be here soon. It would be safer for him to stay hidden. There were scouts nearby. The clan leader and patriarchs of the Dace race had left, but there were many scouts left. There were also many scouts from other factions. They had all witnessed this battle, and all of them were trembling with fear. They were even more frightened when Wu was killed. He was the most powerful warrior below the level of the consummate realm. How could he be killed so easily? Especially when Lu Li's traceless saber was invisible and traceless. From afar, they could see Lu Li constantly brandishing his saber. After the saber was brandished, it would vanish, and wounds would appear on Old Devil Wu's body. Whoosh! After the time it took for several incense sticks to burn, 5 figures tore through the air. Even before they arrived, their divine senses had already swept over. They didn't find Old Devil Wu, but they saw a ground full of minced meat and many treasure fragments. The 5 warriors were taken aback. Some of the best scouts nearby sent a message at once to tell them about Wu's death. What? The 5 patriarchs trembled. They stopped tens of thousands of miles away. If Wu was killed and suppressed so easily, wouldn't they die as well? Was it true that the warrior of death was in there? The warriors' hiding skills were appalling. They had attacked for so many times and asked a warrior of the family of fire to burn for 3 months. Yet he did not show up. His hiding skills were amazing. Patriarch Yang, go back and send a message to our clan leader. Ask him to come. A patriarch ordered. The cage was still there, which meant that the warrior of death was still in there. There was still a chance to kill Lu Li. They did not dare to do anything rash. They reported to the clan leader of the Dace race at once. A group of powerful warriors would come and kill Lu Li. One of the elders turned around and flew back to the city of Evernight, while the rest of the elders spread out and guarded in different directions. They were thousands of kilometers away, so they didn't dare to approach. They didn't even dare to collect Old Demon Wu's spatial ring. They scanned the area with their divine will over and over again, but found nothing. Go! One of the elders thought for a moment and took out his treasured sword. The treasured sword split into tens of thousands of clones and began to attack the prison again. Lu Li had no choice but to enter the land of Dharma. But at the same time, he was using the trace of Tao to check. Because Blood Fairy was still breaking the matrix. If these experts dared to attack Blood Fairy, he would have to come out and use the Great Emperor's Cauldron to suppress them and the Traceless Blade to kill the elders. A few of the elders were able to sense Blood Fairy as well. Although Blood Fairy had been traveling through the ruins, she was constantly moving. Naturally, they were able to sense her. The few elders were somewhat bewildered. Where did this charming spirit come from? Why was it able to travel through the divine inscription formation? Could it be a nearby succubus? The elders did not notice that Blood Fairy was breaking the array, but they soon forgot about it. She was just a little succubus. What did she do? The elders should focus on attacking Luli. Why did the succubus appear at such a coincidental time? Is the succubus the leader of death? Is hiding in the formation? Is that why we cannot find him and attack him? A patriarch suddenly remembered something and told the other 3 patriarchs. The 3 patriarchs were taken aback. One of them said with a bitter smile, "If the leader of death is this succubus, do you think he can be trapped? He would have fled long ago. What is more, this succubus is not aggressive. It has no ability to fight." "You are right." The other patriarchs nodded. The succubus could travel back and forth in the formation without being affected. If Luli were a succubus, he would have run away by now. Would he still be trapped here? That patriarch attacked for a while, but the result was the same. He had to put away his sword. His sword had penetrated through the space. If Luli were hiding in there, would he be hurt? He must be able to sense Luli. Since the patriarchs could not find Luli, they would have to wait for their family patriarch to come. Their leader had gone back to the Carp realm. It would take at least half a day for him to teleport here. As long as Luli was still here, sooner or later, they could find a way to kill Luli. Previously, they were not sure that Luli was in there. But now, many scouts had seen Luli in there and he had killed Wu. They were sure of it. What? 2 hours later, one of the patriarchs was surprised. He sent a message to the other patriarchs. "Did you notice that the succubus seems to be altering the runes?" "Really?" The other patriarchs used psychic power to check on Blood Fairy. After a moment of observation, they noticed that Blood Fairy was altering the runes. One of the patriarchs shouted, "We must kill this succubus or else the leader of death will break free." "Hawk, the succubus is a soul. Attack with your soul." Another patriarch shouted. Luli had been checking outside. Naturally, he noticed it. He came out and said to Blood Fairy, "Blood Fairy, how much longer? I still need an hour. Master, help me hold them off for an hour." Blood Fairy replied. Luli had no other choice but to take out the ding of Gong Huang Ding. The ding dashed out and struck at Patriarch Hawk, who was thousands of miles away. This patriarch knew soul attacks and could hurt Blood Fairy. What? Luli took out the ding of Gong Huang Ding and showed himself. The 5 patriarchs' eyes glowed coldly. The leader of death was trapped in there. But when the 5 patriarchs checked, they were shocked. Luli was only at the peak of the Great Emperor realm, and he was very young. "It is the 10th warrior, Luli." One patriarch came to his senses. The other patriarchs were even more shocked. A warrior of the Great Emperor realm could kill Wu? In the time it took for them to be stunned, the cauldron had already arrived above Old Eagle's head. Old Eagle glanced at it, and a divine weapon appeared in his hand. He shouted, "This is a supreme divine weapon. Quickly come and help me." Buzzing. The ding of Gong Huangding glowed, and then Hawk was suppressed. Just now, he tried to smash away the ding of Gong Huangding. Now, he could not even attack. He was lying on the ground, unable to move. Whoosh! Luli swung his traceless saber. It disappeared as soon as it was swung. The next second, Luli appeared above Hawk's head and hacked at him. With a muffled thud, the helmet on Old Eagle's head was cleaved apart. Fortunately, this elder's defensive prowess was not bad, and he had not been killed in a single blow. Another supreme relic weapon. Hawk was suffering. He shouted again, "Come and help me. I can't stand it any longer." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The other 4 elders madly flew over, some of them even taking out their divine weapons and shields to help Old Eagle protect him. The next second, Luli swung his traceless saber. He appeared above Hawk's head and hacked at him. Boom! Hawk's head was crushed. He died on the spot. The other 4 patriarchs had just arrived when they saw Hawk being killed. 3 patriarchs. Chapter 3509. As soon as Patriarch Eagle was killed, the other patriarchs panicked. Luli could kill Patriarch Eagle in 2 moves, which meant that he could finish them in 2 moves as well. More importantly, that tripod was so horrifying that it immobilized Patriarch Eagle easily. If they were suppressed by the tripod, they would not be able to move as well. Spread out. A patriarch shouted, and flew to the distance. Since Luli could not come out, the patriarchs would stay and wait outside. They could not let the tripod suppress them, or else they would be doomed as well. The other 3 patriarchs came to their senses. They spread out and flew to a place thousands of miles away. Retreat, the scouts nearby retreated. After all, they could use psychic power to check this place, even if they were thousands of miles away. This place was too dangerous. They would all be killed if they stayed. Now that the patriarchs were gone, Luli could no longer kill them. The tripod could only be controlled within a certain distance. Luli put away the tripod and used Dragon Roar to shout, "I am standing here. Are you Dace Race good-for-nothings? You are standing here, and you don't have the courage to attack?" The patriarchs were angry, but the more Luli behaved like this, the more afraid they were. Luli must be trying to enrage them so that he could kill them one by one. Luli waited for a moment. Seeing that none of the patriarchs came, he shouted again, "Dace Race good-for-nothings, if you don't have the courage to attack, send a message to your family patriarch and tell him to come and meet his doom. Dace Race good-for-nothings, come and fight? Are there any powerful warriors of the Dace Race that can fight?" As Luli shouted, the 4 patriarchs of the carp race became more and more afraid to come closer. Luli put on a domineering face, but he was secretly delighted. Blood Fairy was about to crack the formation. Once the formation was down, he would be like a fish in the ocean, and nobody would be able to catch him. The patriarchs could tell that Blood Fairy had been changing the patterns, but they were still afraid to come. Given how skilled Warlock Wu was in the study of patterns, it would take time for Blood Fairy to crack the formation. In half a day, their family patriarch would be here. The formation should be able to hold out for half a day. Time passed by quickly. Luli didn't shout anymore. He just sat in the cage, completely unguarded. But the more Luli behaved like this, the more fearful the patriarchs were. Luli's means just now it frightened them. 2 supreme divine weapons, one suppressing and the other attacking, they could not withstand it. What's the background of this 10th powerhouse of the Grim Reaper? Could it be a descendant of a paragon? Otherwise, why would he have 2 supreme divine weapons? Peak Emperor class, to be able to kill the eagle so easily. This Peak Emperor class is also abnormal, right? Especially with such a monstrous concealment divine skill. Could he be the young master of a great clan in the Immortal region? I heard that the Gue clan was scared away by the son of the king of the Eastern region. Could it be that these 2 supreme divine weapons were given to Lu Li by the son of the king of the East? Or is Lu Li the illegitimate child of the king of the Eastern region? That is possible. His name is Lu Li, and the son of the king of the Eastern region is called Lu Xiaobai. They are both surnamed Lu. Don't worry about them. We'll just watch him here and wait for the clan king to come. When the clan king comes and Lu Li is still here, he will die for sure. The several patriarchs communicated with each other. They were filled with doubt. Lu Li was too amazing. The Dace race didn't even have 1 supreme divine weapon, but Lu Li had 2. The other powerful warriors were envious of Lu Li. They wished they could kill Lu Li and take the supreme divine weapon for themselves. Time passed quickly, and soon an hour had passed. Blood Fairy said punctually, "Master, we are about to open it. Do you want to open it now?" "Okay." Lu Li nodded and said, "Break it open. When you do, come into my body at once." Buzzing, all of a sudden, the cage glowed brightly. After a glare, the cage disappeared. At that moment, Lu Li vanished as well. The moment the cage was broken, he dashed away like a sharp sword and left at once. What? The 4 patriarchs had been checking all the time. They realized what was going on at once. The 4 patriarchs realized something was wrong. Without any hesitation, they gathered together, fearing that Lu Li would launch a surprise attack on them. Lu Li had gone through so much trouble to escape. He would not allow more trouble to crop up. He snuck away and vanished into the distance. He had left the universe of eternal night. Half a day later, nothing happened. The clan leader of the Dace race came. Unfortunately, Lu Li had run away. It was pointless for the clan leader of the Dace race to come with a group of powerful warriors. After Lu Li escaped, he was not in a hurry to seek revenge. Instead, He sent a message to Emperor Mo through the communication altar secretly built by the god of death, telling him that he had escaped and that he had made some gains. Emperor Mo didn't have to worry about the rest, and he could handle it. Emperor Mo and the others were relieved to receive the message. Judging from the tone of Lu Li's message, Emperor Mo's abilities seemed to have grown. Emperor Mo and the others were overjoyed. They didn't wait for the news outside the Dipper universe. The three leaders snuck into the Dipper universe. For one thing, they could receive the news sooner. For another, they could help Lu Li if they had the chance. After Lu Li rested for half a month, he began his bloody revenge. In the next 5 months, he made 7 moves in a row. He killed 2 powerful warriors of the Dace race who were very close to the consummate realm. He destroyed dozens of cities and resources of the Dace race. Blood flowed in rivers and heads were rolling. The clan leader of the Dace race was enraged, but there was nothing he could do. Who else could find Lu Li when Lord Wu was dead? They could not ask for help from a warrior at the consummate realm. The question was, how could they do that? Could a warrior at the consummate realm be hired so easily? The Dace city was in a mess. Many civilians had quietly moved away. The once bustling city was deserted. The clan leader of the Dace race and a group of patriarchs gathered in a hall. The clan leader of the Dace race paced up and down, glanced at the patriarchs, and said, "Tell me, do you have any good ideas? If we don't think of something, our race will face extinction." In the past couple of days, the clan leader of the Dace race had received a message. 2 major races nearby had formed an alliance. More than a dozen of their enemies had finished their discussions. They could attack the Dace race at any time. The 2 races wanted the territory of the Dace race, and the other races wanted revenge. The sparks were on fire. Seeing the panic on the patriarchs' faces, the chief patriarch of the Dace race sighed and said in sorrow, "Now, there is only one way out." The patriarchs felt they had found a life-saving straw. They all looked at the chief patriarch of the Dace race. The clan leader of the Dace race said, "Chief patriarch, it has come to this. Don't keep us guessing. Just say it. Surrender." The chief patriarch sighed, "Surrender. Lower your head and submit." The patriarch's eyes glowed with anger. One of them slapped the table and said, "You want us to surrender to death? Surrender to death? That is impossible. I would rather die a heroic death. I would rather our entire race perish than to surrender to death." The other patriarchs nodded. As a major race, they had their pride and dignity. How could they surrender to the enemy? The chief patriarch waved his hand and said, "You are mistaken. We are not surrendering to death. We are surrendering to a super race. Several super races have shown that they want to recruit us. I think as long as we surrender to a super race, their consummate warriors will help us. Do you think Lu Li can survive that? P.S. Driving back to my hometown. The updates are not stable. Update later. Third Master. Chapter 35:10. Surrender to a super race. The patriarch said nothing. It would not be a year or 2, but a century or 2. That would be forever, unless their race grew stronger and surpassed that super race. There were 16 super races in the Tiangang galaxy, and all of them had consummate warriors. Many races in the Tiangang galaxy were vassals of these super races. They rarely went to war, but they would often mobilize their vassal races to do so. This was actually a strategy to prevent the vassal races from growing stronger and to wear them down. In this way, the 16 races would always be the overlords of the Tiangang galaxy. Once they surrendered to a super race, there would be no chance for them to grow stronger unless the race was destroyed. If the super race was destroyed, the vassal races would be destroyed first. Therefore, unless they had no other choice, ordinary races would not surrender. But if they did not surrender, they would either be wiped out or have to retreat. The entire race would retreat to the secret realm, to other galaxies, or to the immortal region. If they went to other galaxies or the immortal region, what if the Grim Reaper continued to hunt them down? If they went to the secret realm, The race would have to hide for at least 10,000 years before they could recover. All the powerful warriors looked at their tribe leader. They could not make such a decision. They had to wait for the tribe leader to make a decision. The Carp tribe leader looked even more solemn. If he did not make a good decision, the Carp tribe would be doomed eternally. Those bastards of the Red Dragon race. The Carp tribe leader cursed. If it were not for the Red Dragon race's instigation, the Carp tribe would not have provoked the Grim Reaper. They did not know that the Grim Reaper was such a freak. Now, they had gone for wool and come home shorn. No, not just shorn, but they had lost their lives. The Rainbow tribe leader was breathing faster and faster. He paced up and down in the hall. After more than 2 hours, he still could not make up his mind. At that moment, a deacon came in with a piece of news. The Carp tribe leader and the patriarchs could not contain their anger anymore. Tribe leader, patriarchs, Luli has just attacked the Jiyuan city. More than 100,000 warriors and 36 deacons were killed. In addition, young Master Shao has also fallen. In the entire Carp clan, there was only one young master who could be called young Master Shao. He was one of the Carp clan king's favorite juniors. The Dace tribe leader's body trembled, and his eyes bulged as he roared. Why is he in Jiyuan city? Are you all trash? Didn't I give the order? Why didn't you know that he left Carp city? Clan king, please calm your anger. The deacon bowed and replied. Young Master Shao made a bet with several young masters that he would kill Lu Li with his own hands. He left a fake body in the city while his real body sneaked out. There were also a few deacons who helped him cover up. Get out. The leader of the Dace race roared before cursing furiously. Idiot, idiot. He wants to kill Lu Li with his battle prowess as a late Saint King? Immeasurably stupid, impossibly stupid. This young Master Shao was one of the most talented juniors of the Carp clan. It was a certainty that he would break through to the Great Perfection Realm. He was even a genius that had a chance of breaking through to the Great Perfection Realm. Now that he had died, just like that, the Dace tribe leader was extremely pained and enraged. Bang! He furiously slapped the table and said with bloodshot eyes, Grand Elder, go and contact the 3 nearby super clans. See what conditions they have, and choose the best one to surrender to. You must make a deal with them, and that is to kill Lu Li for us. It would be better if they could help us kill the Grim Reaper. Otherwise, we would rather die than surrender. Alas, a few of the elders sighed slightly. Had they finally reached this step? Once the Dace race put shackles on themselves, they would never be able to rise again. But how could they rise again when they could be wiped out? Retreating to the secret realm was one option. However, the secret realm was short of resources. Without territory, it would be more difficult for the Dace race to rise again. Leaving the Dipper Galaxy would be a slim chance as well. The Dace race could no longer stop their decline. If they could kill Lu Li, at the very least, they could avenge the deceased people and powerful warriors. The clan leader of the Dace race had been decided. There was nothing else to say. The chief patriarch of the Dace race and 2 other patriarchs went to contact the 3 nearby super races. The 3 super races expressed their willingness to accept the Dace race's surrender. The Dace race lost a patriarch, many Saint Emperors, and many warriors as well. But overall, the Dace race was not harmed. They were good followers. Who would say no to having more followers? Such followers would be offered many resources every year, and they could be ordered to fight. The chief patriarch of the Dace race began the negotiation. He proposed to kill Lu Li and the Grim Reaper, as well as other conditions. The 3 super races agreed without any hesitation. It was impossible to kill the Grim Reaper. They were informed that the Grim Reaper could become the master of the Chaotic Star region because he had the support of the son of the king of the East region. To kill the Grim Reaper would be to challenge the son of the king of the East region. By then, the king of the East region would be enraged, and he would send a group of warriors to kill them. That being said, they did not turn down the offer to kill Lu Li. They did not know much about the relationship between Lu Li and Little White. Also, the Dace race would not have peace if Lu Li was not killed. Many super races were not happy with Lu Li as well. Was he treating the Dipper Galaxy as his backyard? He could come and go as he pleased and kill as he pleased. Was he trying to bully the Dipper Galaxy because there was no one here? He was just an Emperor Realm warrior. Even if he had some tricks up his sleeve, even if he had 2 supreme weapons, he was nothing in the eyes of the super races. Anyone below the level of a warrior at the Dace race's level was a puny insect. When a warrior at the Dace race's level made a move, anyone below the Dace race's level would be a puny insect. The 3 super races all made good offers. They would not make such offers randomly. Once they were made, they would fulfill their promises. After all, super races valued their reputation. If a race lost its credibility, many of its affiliated races would rebel. The consequences would be dire. In the end, the Dace race chose a relatively strong super race, the Dace race. The Dace race had 2 warriors at the Dace race's level and dozens close to it. The Dace race was one of the top 3 in the Dipper Galaxy. Their species agreed to help kill Lu Li and kill all the Grim Reapers that invaded the Tiangang Galaxy. In the future, if the Grim Reaper dared to send more powerhouses over, they would kill them all. In addition, they didn't ask for much in terms of resources every year, and their requests weren't excessive either. They were considered relatively mild. Of course, who knew if it would change in the future? Once they became a vassal clan, their fate would no longer be in the hands of the Carp clan. They would have to do whatever their boss told them to do. 3 days later, the Carp tribe also officially announced that they had become a vassal tribe of the Gu tribe. On the other side, the Gue race also made an announcement that the Carp race would become a vassal race of the Gue race. Any warrior or race that dared to attack the Carp race would become an enemy of the Gue race. Gue. When Lu Li received the news, he did not continue. After all, the Guis had 2 at the completion. He didn't dare to act rashly before he was sure that a consummate expert could see through the traceless Tao. All right, let's go back first. Emperor Mo waved his hand. He had been out for a long time. Since he couldn't move for the time being, he might as well go back first. Since Emperor Mo and Lu Li had decided to go back, the other 2 leaders did not say much. They all decided to go back. Lu Li left several top-level scouts to gather information. He told them not to go to the Dace race and the Guam race on purpose. They should pick a random universe to hide and only pay attention to important information. Lu Li and the others flew back on the battleship. Since Lu Li was in a hurry, Emperor Mo sped up the battleship. In just 4 months, they arrived at the Chaotic Star region. Lu Li went back to the Lu family after he arrived at the Tianhua city. The Lu alliance was fine, but the Central King universe had mobilized 10,000 elite seedlings. Lu Renwang and the others had all settled down. Lu Li went to the council hall in the middle of the night and discussed with Emperor Li. He didn't say much. He just wanted Emperor Li to contact the Gang Race Master and ask him for a favor. The God of Death and the Gang Race were allies, and they shared a good relationship. Emperor Li sent a message in the name of the God of Death without asking too many questions. Half a day later, the Gang Race replied. The Gang Race Master said that it was okay and that he would help as much as he could. The God of Death didn't have a complete warrior, but the Gang Race had 2. The Gang Race Master was powerful, not weaker than the Guam Race Master. Theoretically speaking, the Gang Race and the God of Death were not on the same level. But the Gang Race knew very well that even though the God of Death was not a complete warrior, he was more important than the other 10 masters. Behind the God of Death was the Master of the East region. When the Gang Race Master learned that it was Lu Li's request, he agreed without hesitation. He didn't care about the God of Death, but he did care about Lu Li. He would help Lu Li even if it was a big favor, let alone a small one. There were teleportation formations at the Tianyu city and the main city of the Gang Race. Lu Li and Emperor Mo teleported over. The Gang Race gave them a very high level of reception. Many patriarchs of the Gang Race came to greet them. Chief Patriarch of the Gang Race led the way in person. The Gang Race Master was waiting in the hall and hosted a banquet to entertain Lu Li. Given Lu Li's age, he should have been received by the younger generation. But this time, not even young masters were allowed to sit at the table. Only a young master and a young lady came to greet Lu Li and Emperor Mo. They were accompanied by a group of patriarchs. Lu Li and Emperor Mo were grateful that they were being treated with respect. They smiled politely. After dinner and wine, the gang race master began to talk business. Lu Li looked at the patriarchs nearby. The gang race master understood and waved the patriarchs away. After the patriarchs left, the gang race master even activated the divine glyphs in the hall. Then, he said with a smile, "Okay, Emperor Lu, you can speak your mind. I will do my best as long as it is within my power. It's nothing serious." Lu Li bowed and said with a smile, "I am learning a Tao, and I want you to give me some pointers." Oh, the gang race master was curious. Lu Li had traveled such a long way just to show him a Tao. Could it be a miraculous Tao? It was said that Lu Li had many strange abilities. Otherwise, he could not have become a leader at the Emperor realm. Naturally, the gang race master was interested. The gang race master waved his hand and said, "Emperor Lu, do it. If I see anything, I will tell you everything I know." "Thank you." Lu Li cupped his fists. Then he vanished from the hall after a glare. Emperor Mo was confused. What was Lu Li trying to do? Was he trying to show the gang race master if he could see through the traceless Tao? Wasn't he thinking too much? How could a warrior at the consummate level not be able to see through Lu Li's real identity? After Lu Li disappeared, the gang race master was taken aback as well. Then his eyes glowed. A ripple spread out from him and spread across the entire hall. Soon, the gang race master was stunned. His psychic power was so strong, and yet he could not find Lu Li. Buzzing, he turned his hand over. A weak glow came out from his palm. Then, the force of heaven and earth in the hall began to tremble. Emperor Mo could feel clearly that a surge of mysterious energy had enveloped the entire hall. Everything in the hall seemed to be under the control of the gang race master. If the gang race master wanted to kill Emperor Mo, he didn't have to do it himself. With just a thought, the force of heaven and earth could crush Emperor Mo. What kind of Tao is this? While Emperor Mo was exclaiming about the power of the consummate level, the gang race master asked in surprise, "How can there be such a strange Tao in the world? Is it the legendary traceless Tao?" Emperor Mo was shocked. He asked with his eyes wide open, "Gang race master, you can't find Lu Li?" "Yes, that you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.